You're watching EVH Gear TV, brought to you by Design39 Media. Visit design39media.com for all your website, photography, and video production needs. Microphones for EVH Gear TV are provided by Rode Microphones, and official Van Halen merchandise is provided by VanHalenStore.com. Now, here's your host from Ontario, Canada, EVH Gear artist Eric Broadbent.
Hey everyone, happy Sunday to you. Happy Sunday, Round 2, Part 2 of 2 of a doubleheader weekend, EVH Gear TV, and we are live, and I'm joined by Rich Antonelli. Rich, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for finally got to do this.
I know, we've been talking about it for quite some time.
Yeah, and I got to get you on my podcast too at some point, do a crossover.
That'll be fun. Do you find it's weird when you do other people's shows? Like, I did one recently. I was a guest on a show over in Australia. It was an audio show. And
yep.
I was just like so out of my element. Do you feel like that? So you feel like that today a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. And with the podcast, as we'll get to, I've been on a hiatus, so it's been a while since I've gotten to interact with somebody else on here, rather than doing my YouTube videos and stuff like that. So this is cool. Get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, it's fun, and I do a little bit of audio podcasting as well too. I find, because you do both, you do the audio podcast and you do your video things, it's a really different mindset you have to kind of throw yourself into each time too. You're not showing visuals, and I'm one of these guys that talks with my hands a lot, and I'm showing people things when they can't actually see it.
I'm Italian.
Yeah.
I'm Italian, so I'm always, moving around. I fidget too, so if you see me like fall off the chair, that's just me being an Italian. So
yeah, and I have French Canadian in me, and the French people talk with their hands a lot too, right? So yeah, so that's kind of fun. That's another thing we share in common, anyways.
Yep.
I love it. So we're gonna be talking about a whole bunch of good stuff today. We're gonna talk about your tribute band. We're gonna talk about your NAMM trip, which we're gonna get into right off the hop. Obviously a lot of Line 6 discussion and everything in between. And of course, we can't let you go without talking about some Van Halen. And you're gonna share with us some things that you've just discovered in a move recently too.
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So we'll say hi to a couple quick people here as they're starting to come in and get in their seats and comfy for the afternoon. So thank you, everyone, for popping in on this lovely Sunday afternoon. James Pullen is here, a Canadian buddy here for a long time. Frank Rashad is here, one of our mutual friends. Always a pleasure to have Frank in the chat. The guy just never stops consuming his own company's
Frank's
work.
my guy. What's up, Frank?
Nice to have you. Mark Taylor's here as well, my beautiful better half, Poison Ivy. Jason Sedites. Do you pronounce his name Sedites, or is that right? Sedites?
I'm not sure. That's the way I would probably interpret it.
Yeah. I'm going to say Sedites, and you want
to ask him.
You want to know a really cool fact I just discovered about him the other day? So I added him as a friend on Facebook. He was kind enough to accept. And so, everyone talks about him, in all his patches, and he's really, really good at what he does. Amazing. I watched a good video he did the other day on the Jakey Lee Bark at the Moon, one of my favorite solos.
Yep.
Amazing on that. I downloaded his patch. We just discovered, he says, would you mind if I asked you in what part of Ontario you live in? And I told him, we live about 35 minutes away from each other.
Oh, wow.
Can you believe that? So I
was like, you gotta get hooked up now.
Guaranteed. Yeah, we're going to do something together, just a little video or something. We haven't really ironed anything out, but we've said we want to do something this year. As soon as the spring's here and the weather's good, because us here in Canada, the weather can be bad for travel, so we'll do that for sure. So awesome. Nice. Thank you for tuning in, Jason. Mike Francis is saying, hey, Eric, hey, Rich, Axis. Hey, Rich, how about them Bruins?
Mike's a good guy. Yep.
Yes, he is, Mike. He's sharing our content like crazy.
Yep.
Mac Tech, who's my brother, he says the French talk with their hands, Eric. Yes, they certainly do. Let me see here. Larry's in the house. Frank and Poison Ivy. Okay, so let's jump right into it. You recently just got back. Everyone's just kind of recuperating now from NAMM, and Frank had some of the NAMM thrax. You were able to escape it, I think. Tell us about your...
Yeah, knock on wood so far, and I'll do two kinds of wood.
Yeah, I do that too.
To keep it away from me, but... and everybody kept saying that to me, and you're gonna get sick, and so far, what the key is. This may sound, I don't know if other people take it, but I started taking, beginning of January, I started taking elderberry.
Okay. Just
like chewable elderberry. You can find them in Target, and it's supposed to help with your immune system. So I started loading up on that stuff, and
beforehand, that's good.
So far, so good. It probably has nothing to do with it, but.
Yeah, that helps.
I like to think it helps.
Where people go wrong, and here's a product I used to take a lot too, is echinacea. I'm not sure how it works anymore, but it's another thing too. It kind of builds up the immune system for colds and flu and things like that. And where people go wrong a lot of times with these products is they take it once they feel the symptoms and they're getting sick. You gotta build the immune system before you.
Yeah, you gotta take it for a while.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us a story about, you talked about this on your podcast, but tell people that maybe you didn't catch it. You're leading up to the trip to NAMM. You're going to have some friends join you, and just scheduling conflicts. You made it there, and tell us, kind of give us a whole summary of the trip.
Yeah, so I had a friend of mine that we had planned this. This was a bucket list thing, and I had never been to NAMM before, and always wanted to go. So we finally said, all right, this year we're going. We don't care what it costs. I'm in Rhode Island, so we have to fly across country, and I booked everything probably 7 months prior, hotel, flight, and everything. Did my own. I was supposed to share a room with him, so we got a decent hotel. So that, cutting the cost in half, it wasn't going to be too bad. Mm-hmm. So probably a couple of months before, he had to back out because of just different reasons. And I tried to get a couple other people to go. It was just too close, for them with work. And so I just made the decision. I said, you know what, my stuff is booked. I'm not missing out. I'll fly cross country by myself. I'll go. I had a suite. I had a 2-bed bedroom suite with a kitchen, everything in this hotel by myself. And, but I had mentioned that the toughest part for me was the time change.
Yeah.
I'm usually up 5:30, 6 o'clock, 7 days a week here, Eastern time.
Yeah.
Just that's my body clock just gets me up. I don't use any alarms or anything like that. And, I have 2 kids and I have a dog that wakes me up. It has to go out. So in Anaheim, it was 4 o'clock Anaheim time, and I was like wide-eyed open, like wide awake at 4 a.m. all 4 days that I was there. 5 days I was there, and just staring at this thing, and nothing's open. So breakfast at the hotel was at 6:37, so I had to basically just lay there for 3 hours and twiddle my thumbs waiting to get breakfast and get the day started. By 10 o'clock, it felt like afternoon to me. That's when NAMM would open the doors, and I just that wait was a little bit of a struggle. And then at night, 8 o'clock at night, where it's 11 o'clock here, I was beat. I was done, and I didn't want to do anything except just lay down. I'm getting old.
Oh, yeah, you and I are the same age pretty much too. And that's the thing. It was your first NAMM. It was my first NAMM in 2017. And that alone is an experience. It should almost have NAMM training, I think, for us rookies, because it's a lot to consume, and your mind is overload, and the volume levels, it's constant all day long.
I really didn't really play anything. That's how it was just too much. Mm-hmm. And anytime I wanted to try to play something, it was just too many people.
Yeah, you had to wait.
People to play. So
yeah.
I just kind of, first time I plan to go again after going once. So I just tried to just, like you said, just take in everything as much as I could. I went all 3 levels in that building. They added another section, like another building that's attached to the convention center this year. Okay. So there was another whole couple of levels. So I went through the whole thing in more than a few times during the 3 days that I was able to go in. And I just wanted to see everything. Like the cool stuff, like in the basement, was like the weird instruments. That was pretty cool.
Well, that's neat.
Yeah, it was. So next time I go, I'll know. I'm prepared now.
Yeah. Did you make obviously your first time there? Did you make any notes? Like what I did when I went is I went on the NAMM website, and you can see all the exhibitors, and I actually printed off the list. And I actually, because some people I had appointments with, but other people.
Well, they have an app now. There's an app.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
An app. So I went on there, and I checked off what I really wanted to see. That's and cool. If there were any rock stars doing anything, I would see where they were going to be and what times. A lot of them, the times conflicted with each other, so I had to choose. Well, do I want to see this guy or do I want to see that guy?
Yeah.
So it was, but the app was a big help. Definitely a big help. I didn't really write anything down. I said, you know what? I'm not going to get too crazy with this. I'm just going to go. I'm going to walk wherever my feet take me in that place, and that's going to be it. I'm just going to go and just do it.
One of the things I learned from last year is, and I'm gonna steal the idea, is from Henning Pauly. When he was here, we got to meet each other for the first time. We're kind of fans of each other, and he had a nice video rig, and I had a very nice video rig, and he's running around with a dolly on the bottom of his tripod, and I'm like, oh, dude, like he's literally pushing his thing, and I'm carrying this thing. It's about 45, 50 pounds when it's all set up. and one arm usually. So at the end of the day, my arm was just like this. You know, it was dead, completely dead. And the miles you put on your body, if you're walking with one of those, pedometers, whatever you call them.
Well, I have an Apple Watch.
Oh,
so
geez.
I was doing like 25, 30,000 steps a day.
That's
which
mad.
is, I usually my average day go anywhere from 10 to 15.
Okay.
So I was adding another 10, 15 on top of that.
You don't realize it because you're in a building. You don't think you're walking that far, but it's massive.
But yeah, that building is big, massive.
It's about the size of some small Canadian cities.
Yeah.
It's quite big.
What island?
Yeah, there you go. Well, while you're there, you talked in the podcast about some of the cool things you discovered, and I know we share an admiration for a lot of them, but something I caught wind of was this miking system for speakers. Now, tell us about that one.
I want to say hi to those guys too, because they were Simon, Rich, and Lars.
Mm-hmm.
It was just I'm walking down towards the back, the first floor, and they got the smaller booths. They got your giant plate things like Fender and EVH and stuff like that. But they had the smaller booths, and just happened to walk by, and one of the guys, saw me walking by and said hi. I started talking to him. I gave him a CD. I had a bunch of my CDs with me and a business card for the podcast. So I didn't quite know. I saw the name. It said Sam Systems, and I actually have their card here. Sam Systems.
Okay.
And they're from the UK, and they had this thing called the Integral Miking System. And I wasn't quite like it didn't really make any sense to me because I didn't really see anything. Well, the only thing I saw is they had boxes of them, and on the box it looked like a steering wheel. And I said this on the podcast. It looked like an actual car steering wheel. It was round, and then it had a piece that went across the middle, and it had a big, almost like where the horn would be, right in the middle. You beep the horn.
Yep.
So I started talking to them, and they kind of started explaining what it did. And Lars had a guitar on, and he put the guitar on me, and he's like, we'll let you try this out. And I said, well, exactly what is this thing? What am I listening for? He goes, well, this is just a different way to mic a cabinet without having to put an actual mic in front of the cabinet on a stand, trying to find, moving around, get the sweet spot. Mm-hmm. I said, all right. So he had a little orange amp combo, little one speaker. I don't know if it was a 10 or a 12 inch, but this thing does come in, depending on the speaker that you're using, it comes in a 10 inch or a 12 inch.
Okay. And
he had me on the dirty channel first. He's like, all right, give me a strat. Just play something. So I just played some chords, and it came out of the combo. I said, yeah, it sounds like an orange amp. So I still didn't really know what was going on at that point. And he said, okay, now hold on a second. And they had a small mixer, and I could see there were cables run into it. Then you had it looked like one of those Bose PA sticks, the big
columns,
thin speakers.
That's nice.
So he said, play again. I started playing, and he started turning up on the mixer the channel, and I could hear what I was hearing in the combo started coming out of the Bose. And it was, then I said this on the podcast, I keep repeating myself here, but the clearest guitar sound, other than like a modeler going direct.
Right.
The clearest mic guitar sound I'd ever heard come out of a PA type speaker. And what really blew me away is, like, he said, all right, now we're going to do the clean channel. When he put the clean channel on, I mean, I'd never heard a clean sound like that before coming through a PA, through a real amp, not, again, not a modeler, because modelers take away all the, the extra stuff. So what this thing is, this steering wheel, you take whatever cabinet you have. I have, behind me there's a 412 Marshall. I got some 212s. Depending on what you have, open back, close back. You take the back of your cabinet off. You find say you have a favorite speaker in there. You take that out. You put this steering wheel looking thing in there, and all the holes are lined up to where the screws go. Then you put the speaker back, so you're not seeing this thing at all.
Okay, I gotcha.
It's inside the cabinet. It gets mounted. The speaker goes back, and you screw it back in. So it's on the front of the speaker. And that middle thing that looks like a horn is a cardioid mic. And it's slightly off center, off axis.
Okay.
And I guess they found, through trial and error, they found where to put it to get the best sound out of your speaker cone. So you put that, you hook it all back up, and it's just one little cable that runs. And if you have an open back, it just has the end of it as an XLR. So you just plug an XLR cable into your sound guy.
Yeah, couple,
and
boom, done.
The mic sends it right out to the PA. Or you could, they told me, I have one coming, and I'm going to do a video on it at some point. They told me, like my Marshall 412, I could, instead of drilling a hole through the back of the closed back, I could actually go through the handle, the plastic handles.
Oh yeah.
Drill through there, and they have an attachment that goes there, and there won't be any holes or anything, any air getting in there. So you'll have the XLR right on where the side of the
handle is.
Your handle is, and you just plug it in there.
And if you ever wanted, if the day ever come and you wanted to get rid of the system, you could always pop on a regular handle back in place, and you're back to normal.
Right. Just to order a handle part is
cheap.
Not gonna, instead of ordering a full back.
I know. Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's wicked.
Yeah. I have one coming. It's going through customs right now. I've been tracking it. So when I get it, I'll do like an unboxing video, and I might even show myself putting it, installing it in there.
Wouldn't be a bad idea. Film it, and maybe you might not even use it, but film it just in case. It'd be really cool. I've done that sometimes. Yeah. You kick yourself in the butt. You wish you would have done things like that. So that's cool. I'm looking forward to finding out more about it. It sounded really exciting on the podcast, and I could only hear about
it's like I said, out of everything that I saw there, that it was the one thing that was a little different, but it could be really, really cool for even sound guys. It doesn't have to be a guitar player that buys it. It could be just a sound guy that has his own PA system that lugs that around and doesn't want to have to say a band has 3 guitar players, and he doesn't want to put 3 different mics on. He's already got these things inside the cabinet. He just has to plug into them.
Yeah, imagine the rental guys would be great.
Yeah. You give that for backlines. You just plug into that, and the cool thing about it is that when you put a mic on the front of a cabinet, you're going to pick up outside noise off that mic. This is inside the cabinet, it's so close to that speaker that it's not going to pick up anything. It's not really picking up anything. So that the sound was just like crystal clear.
I think a lot of bands really where they're trying to get on stage and off stage fast, like for bands that are on the circuit opening for people. If you're like an opening act in a lot of places, that's a godsend. Roll that cabinet on stage, carry it on stage, whatever. Drop it down. Sound man comes up, plugs in an XLR, and you are done in seconds.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool. What else?
Well,
what else did you see?
That's like not only am I looking forward to that, now I have to thank you for hooking me up with Pedal Snake.
Yes.
So I think it's coming tomorrow.
Good.
I think my system's coming tomorrow, which I can't really use it yet because I have other pieces that need to come in for my new board. I'm setting up a smaller, more efficient board for just using with my amp. I have the Helix, the Line 6 Helix, where if I want to do a show where it's a smaller stage and I need to run direct. But the bigger stages we play, I like to put the amp behind me with the 412. So I'm making a smaller board just for the effects for that.
Now with the pedal snake, did you go custom, or was it one of the bass snakes?
I did the 24-foot. He had, I went through the whole questionnaire, and I think I drove him crazy.
Yeah.
Because I'm not used to thinking that way.
It makes you learn your rig, doesn't it?
But he was, Jody was great. Jody at Pedal Snake. Say hi to him if I told him, about the show today.
He'll see this. He'll see it.
So yeah, I ordered the Strymon, the R30. I'm doing the 24-volt, the whole shebang. So
nice.
It's going to be nice just to have that one cable running from the back of the amp to the front.
I've been really preaching the Pedal Snake for years. I've been with them for about 15 years, and it's as vital to me, honestly, as my guitar. It's that important. And someone the other day in some of our various Line 6 Facebook groups that we all belong to, someone was talking about, I think it was the HX effects, and someone was saying, what cables do you use for running, for 4-cable method and stuff like that, and people were commenting on some hoses, and I have my Helix hooked up to the board right now with a hose up, but in a lot of cases here in the studio as well too, I've got 3 pedal snakes, and one of them I'm actually using now for the 4-cable method on the HX effects. What we haven't done yet is this hasn't been confirmed to necessarily work or not yet, but I was talking to Eric Klein about the voltage that it requires. I think it's like 2 amp or something like that. And Jody was saying that there's possibilities that with using two outputs, I think, from the Strymon unit, that it'll...
Well, that's what I did. Yeah. that's what he told me to do. So I'm hoping.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
gonna
then,
work.
yeah, then, oh, yeah, it will. If he's told you that, then it will for sure.
Yeah.
He won't say yes if it doesn't, for sure. So
Right,
that's
right.
awesome. And that's what's just so nice. Like what I told people using, and this is, I didn't mean to get off on the topic of pedal snake, but it's worthwhile saying, it really cleans up your rig first and foremost. And cleanliness is nice too, because you're not worrying about, okay, is this cable going to fail? Am I going to trip? Blah, blah, blah. So you've got sends and returns and all kinds of extra stuff, wireless signals, voltage through the pedal snake. But back when I was running my main rig, when it was the 100 watt that's behind me, and I'm running a bunch of, physical physical pedals, I was getting a lot of noise. And it's because I had different voltages running here and there. And we went with a regulated power supply. And his goal was, he says, within a year, Eric, I'm going to get you to take that darn noise suppressor off your board. It's still on the board, but it's only there for a battery tester. It's just a battery tester. That's all it is. And he's pretty happy that his system was able to quiet it down. So that's awesome. And the Line 6 people, take a look at that. You guys are using Line 6 products, especially like the HX Effects or the Helix. Yep. If you're doing like 4 cable method and things like that, and you want some extra lines at your board, pedalsnake.com. And what Rich was talking about with this questionnaire, there's a rig questionnaire. And just when you think you know your rig, all of you guys, I'm sure you think you know your rig. And we thought we knew our rigs. And when someone starts to make you analyze it, you're like, I don't know my rig. Yeah.
Yeah, he was, I felt like if it was me, I was on the other end, I would want to slap me, because we were going back and forth, and he was like, you just need to tell me, I just need to know the audio cables. Yeah. Because I was telling him everything. I said, this is plugged into this is going this way, and this is going upstairs, and this is, but he was cool, and I should have it tomorrow.
Oh, that's great. I can't wait. Yeah, do an unboxing or something like that. That'd be great to see. I'm really excited. That's good. I'm happy for you. What else did you do any other touristy things while you're in California?
Yeah, I got there. It started on Thursday, and I got there on Wednesday morning. It's funny because I left Providence, Rhode Island at 5:30 a.m. and flying across country. I went from Providence to Detroit, and to Detroit right to Anaheim. But it was only 10:30 out there, 10:30 a.m. because of the time change. So I ended up getting they have like a twilight ticket at Disney. Okay. So I went to Disneyland alone. Kind of weird, but now I can say I've been there. I've been telling people, I'm like, if you haven't been to Disney World in Orlando, then Disneyland is probably really cool. But if you've been to Disney World, Disneyland is like just like a big amusement park. Okay. It's not. It's as far as the size, it's just not, doesn't even compare. So what I was told out there was that when Walt Disney first built that, he built it, and then his vision got bigger and bigger, but he couldn't expand it because there was no land. Right. And there was houses and everything around there. So that's when he went to Florida and pretty much bought all of Orlando. Oh, wow. And because even like if you have been Cinderella's Castle, in Orlando, it's majestic. I mean, it looks like a real castle. In Disneyland, in Anaheim, it just looks like someone's house. Oh. And it just looks like it has they just put a top on it. Yeah. It didn't compare. But I lasted 2 hours in Disneyland. I was like, I got to get out of here. I can't. It's just I went to all the Star Wars stuff and got my kids some stuff, and then I was out of there. Yeah, just to say you did it, kind of. Yeah, I was bored. Yeah. So I was also excited about NAMM too. I was like,
you want to be there. Yeah. While we're on the topic of Disney, this is a useless fact for the day, but I watch some of these cool videos. I don't know how I get down these rabbit holes on YouTube, but some of the behind the scenes things and the architecture of some of the buildings there. Like I think I've been to the gate of the one in Orlando. I was there with the company I used to work years ago. I was down there in Florida, and we're right there. Obviously, I haven't been to the one in California, but right across the road practically. But the architecture, they do a lot of weird forced perspective stuff. So you're talking like the top of the castle. It's only like about this tall, but it's like way up, so it looks smaller. That's kind of neat. The perspective.
I mean, the stuff they think of it's incredible. And then they just make it look better than it actually is. Yeah. Like you get up close to some of that stuff, you're like, that doesn't look too good. But
from a
far
distance,
away,
looks sweet.
That thing looks awesome.
Yeah, that's right. I can jump back to the chat for a second, say hi to a few more folks when we come back. Before we get into your tribute band, we'll just maybe give us a little bit of a backstory on yourself, when you got into guitar and things like that, so I can prepare for that one.
Sure.
Bobby Clipper is here saying, hi, y'all. Jason Sedites saying, looking forward to getting together and working on something, Eric. Great to be here. Nice to have you. Blimpa's Videos, happy Sunday, guys. Jason equaling our excitement to have Frank joining us. Terry's GG&Gs, it says, I made it. Cutter Savage, what's up, everyone? Hey, Cutter, I was rocking your Cutter Savage t-shirt all day yesterday. That's a go-to in the house. Mike Francis says, hey, Frank, Dirty Apes. Mike Francis wishing my better half well wishes. Steve Segura is here. Segura, I hope I got that right. Quentin James is here. I scroll too fast, so I try to catch up with everybody. Let me see here. Dad Rock 80 says, afternoon, everyone. That means you too, Poison Ivy. Always good to make it. Nice to have you. And yeah, Poison Ivy says, I'd rather go to a county fair, much less walking, and better and cheaper food. That's true. Some good home cooked food as opposed to like, $9 glass of root beer, know, and all that kind of stuff. And Quentin says Disney World was epic. And Rich or Axis says, Rich, send me a Dell's. I'm not sure what that is.
Oh, Dell's Lemonade.
Okay.
Dell's Lemonade. Yeah.
I think I've heard of that.
It's a Rhode Island thing, but it's good.
Okay, nice.
So if you ever come down this way, try a Dell's.
Okay, well, for sure. So let's jump into the kind of the education process of guitar. When did you start, and maybe share a little bit about what's taken you from a young kid getting into guitar and where you are today?
Well, what's funny is this whole Van Halen thing. Similar story. I actually started on drums.
Okay.
And I probably 11, 12 years old, took some lessons, and I think I was getting decent. I was getting pretty good, and I was kind of sheltered. So I had never heard of Van Halen back then. I'd never heard Eruption, any of that stuff. So when the first time I really heard Van Halen was with 5150, and that's what blew my mind. I started, watching more, and I had to watch them and listen to, and I went back to the old stuff, and that's when I said, what, the hell with these drums. I taught myself guitar. Oh, first I started teaching myself piano. Didn't take any lessons. Same thing with guitar. I never took lessons. I just started watching videos and figuring, seeing where their finger. When I used to play drums, I was in a garage band. Everybody's been in a garage band with, friends from school and high school. We had a really good guitar player. And while I was playing the drums, I would just watch, not thinking I was going to play guitar someday. I would just watch his fingers,
mental notes,
his fingers, how the shapes. And so that kind of jump-started myself teaching myself guitar. Piano was a little different. I had to really figure that out. And I mean, I can play piano and keyboards, but I can't do any classical like Beethoven stuff like that. I could play Van Halen.
That's cool. Yeah, some chords and stuff.
Some Journey stuff, Billy Joel, but I can't go crazy with it. But so that's what happened. I got rid of the drums and got I think it was like a $50 Cort electric guitar. And the first song I taught myself, pretty much anybody can play it, is the opening riff to "Alone Again" by Dokken.
Oh yeah, right. That's
because you just have to fret one note. Yeah. You just hit the open. So I was like, when I heard that, I'm like, I'm actually making, sounds like music.
And that's rewarding to you, isn't it? When you hear something that's you can play and someone recognizes it.
Right. And then on the keyboard, it was jump. Like when I figured out how to play jump, I'm like, that sounds like, that's how it's supposed to be. So that really pushed me to keep going and try to further my playing.
Now, do you remember showing one of your friends the first time? Have a friend come over, look, I can play this on the guitar, I can play this on the keyboard.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, my friend Pete in high school, they had a piano in his house, and I don't think any of his family played, but they had a piano. So I would just go over there and just
noodle.
I was over there every day, and I was playing his piano, and that's getting better and better. And I would show him some stuff too. So.
And you just picked up one, didn't you, at the house?
Yeah, I just got it was one of those. I don't know if you've heard of Craigslist.
Oh yeah, it's kind of the American version of our Kijiji.
So they have a bunch of free pianos. People have to move and they can't take them with them, so they're like, you have to come pick it up. So I found one, and all it needs is a little bit of a tuning. There's one key that's really out, but the rest of it was good, and I'm gonna I'm gonna sand it and restain it and all that. So, but I've been playing, for the last probably 4 or 5 days. I've been playing like an hour a day.
That's good.
Just remembering how to play. I've been playing, like Dreams and Love Walks In and stuff like that. So it's coming back.
That's nice. You could always, once it's
know.
done and refurbished, contact your local music guys and get a tuner out there. It probably wouldn't be too expensive. Probably like 50,
Right.
$60, $100 or something maybe. I don't know what they charge, but I'm sure it's reasonable.
I don't know, but the piano was free, so
yeah,
whatever it takes to get it going.
Did you have to get a buddy
and
to
it
help
sounds
you?
good as it is right now. Yeah, the only thing that stinks is the one key that's really out of tune is the D below middle C.
Oh, you need it.
I use that key a lot.
Sure.
So I have to try to adjust and go down to the lower one.
Yeah.
Because every time I hit that, it's like, it's cringe.
Yeah.
Cringe when you hear.
And especially if you're playing for somebody too, you're probably just playing for yourself at the moment. But if you're playing for
Well,
somebody,
no, we had people over last night,
no.
and I'm playing, and then it's I hit the note, and all their faces kind of like,
You should say to people, do you have any favorite songs in the key of F? Like I can't play anything in the key of D. I just don't like D. It's a very sad key for me, and I don't want to go. You don't want to go there. That's great. I love it. So when did you discover tribute bands? Like, how long have you been doing Bon Jersey? And tell us a little bit about that group.
All right. So I only did original music for the longest time. I was in a band called Sky High. We did the whole, I don't know if you've heard of Paris Records.
No, I don't think I've heard of that.
Well, they did a lot of like 80s bands but a lot of bands that never really made it, to the major labels. They were a really small independent that would distribute your CDs overseas and stuff like that. So I did that for the longest time with that band. And actually on my website, there's sound samples of the songs that we used to do in that band. But I was always against cover bands and tribute bands. It was weird because I was like, you got to write your own music. What are you playing? I'll never be caught dead in a tribute band. So years later, still doing Sky High, and a friend of mine, bass player friend of mine, says, "Hey, do you know any Bon Jovi?" I know like bits and pieces of, I know the intro to Wanted Dead or Alive. Everybody knows how to play that. And I know, I know songs like Living on a Prayer. I said, why? He said, well, there's a tribute band here and they need a guitar player this week.
Oh boy.
For a gig. Something happened with their guitar player. He went to jail or something. I don't know what happened. Something happened.
Not good. Yeah,
something not good. So I'm like, well, when do I need to know these songs? He said, like, it was a Monday. And he said, Friday night they have a gig at a big club. I said, well, how many songs are there? He said, there's 17. I said, well, give me the list. So I learned 17 songs. Like I was like just sitting there for hours on end. And like You Give Love a Bad Name. You've heard them a million times. So you're already familiar with them.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of learning the parts. So I went down to one rehearsal. I actually had a 5150 combo at the time, brought that down, and we whacked it right out, the 17 songs at that rehearsal. And I played the show, and then I ended up playing probably another 5 or 6 shows. Now, they had already gotten a replacement for the guy that had to go away, but he was still learning songs. So they had promised him the position. So I did like 5 or 6 more shows until he was ready to play those 17 songs that I learned in a week. And so while doing that, I was like, this is actually kind of fun, remembering all the stuff that I was like against tribute bands and cover bands. So it was actually kind of fun. I had fun doing it. So I put together with the guys from Sky High and a couple extra guys, a band called Crush, which was another Bon Jovi tribute, but it was more of a Bon Jovi cover band. It wasn't really like, we weren't going for the look. We weren't going for the stage and all that stuff. We were just playing the music.
Yeah.
So I put that together. We did that for a couple of years. We just played small clubs around Rhode Island. And my current band, Bon Jersey, used to be called Jovi, just Jovi.
Okay.
And my keyboard player from Crush had been talking to their guitar player, and they ended up needing a guitar player to fill in for something. So I ended up going and filling in for them. They were called Jovi at the time. And shortly after that, I was in the band. It just worked out. It just They liked it, my playing. They thought I fit really well. I don't remember exactly what happened with the guy before me. I know him. He was a good guy, and but I think I just fit more what they were looking to do as far as taking the band to another another level. So the reason for the name change from Jovi to Bon Jersey, as we started playing more, we started playing bigger and better places. The name was getting out more, and all of a sudden, and I was running the website. I took over the website, and I still run it today. I got an overnight letter from LA from a trademark attorney, cease and desist for using the name Jovi. And they had used that name for, I don't know, 5-6 years before that, with no issues. But I think because we were starting to get more of a name, they said we were confusing people, that people would think we were Bon Jovi, which, people are going to a small club. It's not going to be Bon Jovi playing there. It's a tribute band.
That's right.
So we weren't sure what to do. I had a friend who was a lawyer, and he's looking at it. So he started the contact with the trademark attorney, and our drummer Ross actually got in touch with John Bon Jovi's brother Matt and told him about it. I don't know if it was through Twitter or one of the online things, and Matt took it to the band, and they had no idea that the attorney was coming after us.
Same thing as Metallica.
So Matt came back and said, you know what? It's just a name. It's not worth fighting it. Just change your name. He goes, but the best thing that happened about this, he goes, now my brother knows about you guys. So we were trying to come up with names, and Joe, our singer, and I were on the phone one day, and we both it was weird. We both came up with Bon Jersey, like almost the exact same time. We were like, what can we do? Because there was already bands like Bad Medicine and, all the song titles, Runaway, these days, like album titles. We didn't want to do something like that. So we just said, all right, well, and they're from New Jersey, Bon Jersey. A lot of people think we're from New Jersey, but we're not.
I like that. I like that name. It really rolls off the tongue. And that's the thing, too, is here in Canada, the same thing happened with Metallica. And a lot of times, people get mad at these bands. I'm sure there's some people getting mad, like some of your fans were probably mad at Bon Jovi. And in this case, it was just down the road, right up around Jason's area, a Canadian band called Sandman. Really, really good Metallica tribute. And they got scrutinized. I
heard about that.
Yeah. And then apparently... so there again, too, the law firm just contacts them. And the law firms are thinking, okay, hey, I'm going to impress my client by, filing a lawsuit to protect, right? Blah, blah, blah. And Metallica, I've several of the guys, I think it was James and Kirk, actually called the guys in the band down in London and like, hey, you guys are officially sanctioned by us. You do a great job. All this kind of cool stuff. So that was very nice to hear. But it sucks when that happens. Yeah,
and we're not the only band they went after. There was a band of girls. Called Bon Jovi.
Well, that's neat.
Out in LA, and I guess they got the cease and desist, and I don't know what happened to them. I think they just stopped because I never heard of them again.
Yeah.
But we were like, you know what? And they made us. We had to sign something where we couldn't use the name Jovi in anything. If we wanted to sell merchandise, we couldn't. We can't put Bon Jovi tribute band, even though it's a tribute band. We can't put those two words in there. And when we went back to them with Bon Jersey, they tried to say no to that. Not Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi was great through the whole thing. It was the attorneys. They tried to say no to that. And my friend, the lawyer, said, well, first of all, Bon is a French word meaning good. Mm-hmm. So you can't do anything about that. And Jersey is a geographic location, so you can't stop that. So they were like, all right, so that's fine. So as long as we signed the thing saying we can't put Bon Jovi on anything, which we never really did anyway, it's been fine. That was like, I don't know how many years ago. I've been in the band 12 years now, I think. So, and that happened about maybe four years into it. So since then, it's been no problems.
Now, so if you're billed at a club, can they say Bon Jovi's going to be here tonight, tribute to Bon Jovi? They can't say that?
Yeah, a club can do it, but we can't sell anything as far as, like, we make T-shirts. We can't say, we can put Bon Jersey on it, but we can't put Bon Jovi tribute.
Yeah, there you go. So you're
which I've seen other bands still do it.
Yeah,
and not getting called on it, but I don't know. I don't care.
I like that. You're doing your own thing, and it's actually a blessing because now you get to have your own brand. I know you're still playing their music, but it's your brand. You know,
Right.
everybody has a different brand. And here's, well, let's jump right into this because it was a question I had later on in the itinerary, but it's very fitting right now. When I had on Mrs. Smith, the funny entertainer, the other night on Friday, we got, strange enough, we got down the rabbit hole of tribute bands. And she was saying, you know how if you're going to do it, and I was saying this as well too, if you're going to do the tribute thing, you got to do it right. And you got to go wholehearted into it. And it's hard these days because there's so many. Like you and I, we like Van Halen a lot, and there's a million Van Halen tribute bands. Back when I was doing it, there was, in Canada, there might have been 5 across Canada. You know, that's not a lot. At least ones that were the ones that were, you'd hear the names, you'd know who the band was. Now there's probably 5 in southwestern Ontario. You know, so that goes to show you. And where some people go wrong is, you nailed it when you said you were covering Bon Jovi's material at one time, and then you made a tribute band. There's a big difference.
Right.
What are your thoughts as far as, number one? Okay, I'm gonna go back even further. I think when the band got you, that was a blessing in 2 ways. Because number one, you got the chops and stuff like that. That's first and foremost. But you bring the look too, because you can do the Richie. You look like Richie.
Oh yeah, it's weird because I haven't done anything like this is just the way. I've always worn my hair like this, and he just happened to, he changed his hairstyle, in the 90s, and my hair was already like that.
Yeah.
So, and then another funny thing is my name is Rich. So when we're on stage, Joe, our singer, will say, he'll call me Richie on stage. And then after, and this has happened, I mean, if I had a dime every time this has been asked after a show, by fans. So they'll come up and say hi, take pictures. And so what's your real name? And I'll be like, it's Rich. No, not the stage name. Yeah. What's your actual name? And I say, it's Rich. And they don't believe me a lot of times. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I've shown them my license. It's on the license. My name is Rich. So it just kind of worked out that way,
maybe it's easier to say Richie Sambora does a really good Rich Antonelli. How about that? Have you met him in your travels?
No, we haven't met. I haven't met any of the guys. Actually, just Phil X recently at NAMM.
And that's cool. I know you're trying to speak with him to get him on the podcast and stuff like that.
Yeah, he said he was interested, but now it's like I gave him a CD and gave him the business card, and he did that little show tag for me. And but now it's like I've been trying to get in touch. I've emailed him, and the guy's just busy. Especially with Bon Jovi going back out. So if anybody out there has a way to get a hold of Phil X, let me know.
Yeah,
because he'll remember me. Believe me.
Yeah, he will. I'm sure. Now, is he considered is he a contract? Maybe it's nothing we should discuss.
He's in the band now.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
He's an official member now,
as opposed to a contract.
which is fine.
Yeah, that's great.
He's playing with them. Put him in the band.
Yeah. Now, did I see somewhere on the internet when they're talking about the Hall of Fame appearances and stuff like that him and Richie will perform?
Yeah, and Alec too, the original bass player.
Okay.
Richie and Alec are, at least from what I'm reading, is they're at least going to show up, and get inducted, and they've been invited to play, so hopefully they play the original band. That'd be a cool thing to see because it's been a long time. Yeah.
Well, here's another question I had for you as well, too, as far as like Richie and doing the tribute thing and things like that. A lot of bands, when they get into the tributes, they'll do it for one of a couple of reasons. One, it can be, not always, it can be a somewhat of a lucrative, I shouldn't say lucrative, but it can be a nice side gig, or sometimes a full-time job. So there's some money options there as well if you're doing it right. But number two, a lot of reasons why people get into it is just like, let's say I like Eddie Van Halen. I want to be in a copy band because I love Eddie Van Halen. So people do it for the passion. Sometimes these guys don't even like the artist, but it's a good gravy gig for them.
Right.
How do you approach it yourself? Like, were you always a Richie fan back in the day, other than the Van Halen thing? Like, did it entice you that way?
Not at first, because back then I was into the heavier stuff. I liked Dio and White Snake and stuff like that. But once I did that fill-in gig and started learning the songs and started listening more and like really, really listening, the songwriting is what got me.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't deny. I don't care what people say. Everybody likes a Bon Jovi song. I don't care if you're a thrash maniac or you like Lawrence Welk. Mm-hmm. Everybody likes a Bon Jovi. You'll know it when it comes on the radio. So just the songwriting part of it. And when Richie plays, he doesn't overdo it.
I agree with that.
Like, I love, guys like Yngwie Malmsteen are great, but I can't listen to it too long because it's just, it's too much overplaying. which is great. I know he's one of the best. It's just, but I prefer a song in a melody over fast.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
If you ever watched that one video with Eddie Van Halen, there was I forget the name of it. What was it called again? Too, where Paul Schaefer was hosting it. The certain benefit. Why does it slip my mind? Not a Bridge Street benefit. What was it?
I might have it over here.
Yeah, I've got it on.
We were talking about earlier about
Yeah,
all the
VHS as well.
VHS tapes that I found.
But he's on there with on stage at one time. There's like obviously Paul Schaefer, there's Sheryl Crow, I think, Richie Sambora, and Eddie. And Eddie a couple of times was leaning over, looking at Richie as he's playing, and he's giving him the nod of approval. Yeah. And Richie was just in his zone and playing the patented Strat, and it was cool, and you could see the respect between the two guys.
Right.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and Eddie's the same way. I mean, Eddie plays fast, but when he plays fast, there's a melody in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just I'm going to play every single note in the scale in every position all the way up the neck and then come back. He's got some of the most melodic. That's why when Sammy joined, that's when, like I said earlier, when that first hit me, it was his guitar playing and the tone, but it was just the songs,
mm-hmm.
The choruses, the big choruses. I'm a sucker for a big chorus.
Oh, for sure. Well, with Sammy's vocal lines, the melody there, you could hum those, and you could also hum when Eddie started to transition a little bit more into songs, as opposed to I never want to use the word shred because he doesn't shred.
Yeah.
But you could also hum his guitar solos. You could hum a melody, or you could hum the guitar solo. They're that memorable, and they're that identified. If that's the word I'm looking for.
It's him.
Yeah. Very cool. Let's jump back to the chat for a quick second.
Sure.
So Mike Francis was just heading out. Dan Wilhite is here as well. Chad Boston, our friend. Yo.
Oh, Chad.
Yeah, nice to have Chad join in. Let me see here. Richard Henry is here as well, too, saying, hey, folks. I know this is good doing these afternoon shows because Richard's across.
Yeah, he's over.
Yeah, in Ireland, right? Am I right, in Ireland, I think?
Yeah, he's somewhere over there.
Yeah, and it's late. It's later, so this works out really well for having people tune in the other time zones, and that's why I'm looking forward to the new show that's coming. It's going to be a good time like that too. Terry says Bon Jovi. It's clever like Iron Maidens. Exactly. It's a very cool name.
Right.
Cameron Cooper's here. Cameron's coming on the show very soon too, and Cameron Cooper. Have you seen him play?
No, the name sounds familiar, but I haven't. No.
Later on, check him out for sure. Trust me, he's coming on the show here in a couple of weeks, and he had a really, really cool opportunity happen to him recently. And you can imagine if this was you. Let's say you're at a Bon Jovi concert, right? And Phil X sees you. He sees you at NAMM, whatever, remembers you, and he gives you the nod, come out and play a song. Cameron got to go on stage and just literally tear it up with Steel Panther.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. Cool. And it really, really cool. And there's a little funny thing. He says, Satchel, the guitar player, as he hands his guitar back to him, he's going to get off the stage. And I hope I'm saying this right, because I never can retell jokes ever, but I'll do my best. And he goes, "Oh, thanks a lot, man," to Satchel. Like you're my hero. And Satchel goes, "Of course I am." Like this. I'm just laughing. But yeah, Cameron, it's good to have you, man. My brother Larry says, "Great interview, thank you." And Lawrence Walk, that's funny. That's the thing. Some of us go from Lawrence Walk to some. I grew up listening to Lawrence Walk. We did, Larry as well. Burl Ives, Bing Crosby.
I've heard it all.
Elvis, yeah. Habs 247.
Barry Manilow.
Oh yeah, my mom had it all. She used to love all those guys.
My mother too.
She was like literally in love with them. It's crazy. Dean Martin, Habs 247 says late but here, and thank you. Habs is a recent new subscriber. I think he came in on the Mrs. Smith episode, I think, and that was a really funny episode. That was crazy.
Yeah, I started watching it.
She can play, man. Can she ever play, man? And Fred says, don't let Yngwie's overplaying fool you. He can play guitar really well. I'm sure he can. I'd love to hear him.
I've seen him play without going 2,000 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
He's got feel. He's got everything. It's just overload for me.
Yeah.
Personally. There's nothing wrong with it.
Nope. I'm sure.
I just prefer more slower, bluesy, more melodic stuff.
I'm sure probably you as a younger, probably a late teen,
that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to do was play fast.
I think me too. I think we really wanted to prove something back then. And when you start to realize that it's less can be more, let the song breathe a little bit. And maybe some songs don't even have a guitar solo. I've done that in a few times. It's like I don't find a need to say something here.
Right.
Yeah. Very, very cool. And speaking of recordings, I was listening to your record again today too, Voiceless. And the question I have for you is, one of the tracks, at least one, I caught the talk box on there, and I know, like, the talk box has been a predominant thing with certain people, everybody from Peter Frampton to, lots of people, and a lot of people may think, and I'm thinking this as well too. So you're using it in a Bon Jovi tribute. Was it the Bon Jovi thing that inspired you to do it because you're using it now, and I thought maybe this will fit nice in a song, or is it something you've always wanted to do?
No, it's pretty much, I've been using it for years with the tribute. I got a good handle on it. I know how it works. I know, how to do it. I've heard other guys in other tribute bands use a talk box, and they're doing something wrong. Something doesn't sound right.
Okay.
Or in some instances, the tube is like too wide, and they can't control the sound of it. But yeah, it just seemed, a couple of the songs, it just seemed like, when I was recording, I was like, it might fit, so I just added it in. And that reminds me, I want to, for your viewers, subscribers, or whatever, if anybody wants to email me, just go through my site. I think you have the links.
They're in, all
below.
3. Yep.
Email me. I will send you a free download of the album if you want it.
Nice.
So just either go to the richardantonelli.com or the rockerdadpodcast.com. And just send me an email through there, and I'll hook you guys up.
Oh, that'd be great. It's a really good record, and I made a special note of the song I liked a lot. I like all of them, but the one that really stood out was Breeze song. Am I saying it right? Breeze?
Yeah, that's there's Breeze song and there's Hannah's song. Those are my daughters.
Nice.
And Gabrielle, Bree for short, she was the main reason that I did the CD. I don't know if you read some of the liner notes or.
No, I didn't get the liner notes yet.
That's right. I give it a download.
Yep.
I'll send you a CD if you want one.
Sure.
She's 15 now. She was diagnosed with Crohn's disease when she was 7.
Oh wow, that's young.
Yeah. So yeah, it was crazy. And she's doing really well now. Like no limitations, nothing. They've got it well contained, and she figure skates and all that stuff. Doesn't really miss school, but back then it was kind of like you feel helpless, like, and I'm like, what can I do? I'm not a doctor. I can't, cure her or make her better. So I said, I play music. So I ended up doing that CD. I recorded the whole thing at home, by myself. Had a friend, Chris Longo, play drums on it. I did the bass, all the guitars, all the keyboards, and I put it out and sold copies and donated the proceeds to the hospital that she's treated at.
That's wicked.
So and that was the reason why I did that album. I had no intention of doing an instrumental album, and it's called Voiceless for a reason. You don't want me singing. So that's how that came about.
Well,
like I said, if anybody wants a download of it, just hit me up. And I'll send it.
Links down below, so do that for sure. Please do that. And now that you've told me that, it kind of gave, like, the music gave me a bit of a goosebump listening to it, and that's a sign of good music right away. But it's the story now has hit me even more, and I totally, even if this was a make-believe line, I would believe it, because the sole fact that now that you've told me this story, there's the emotion I felt in the tracks. I just figured it was some good songwriting, but there was some fuel to that. There is some feel to it, and I think guitar players are going to like it, especially. There's I found a lot of harmonized lines on there. So,
like I said earlier, melody. There's a lot of melody. Like there's some shredding or whatever on there, but most of it is just melody. It's just I wrote it with the intention of someone singing over. Yeah. Over it, but then I just added, lead lines instead of someone singing. And actually, it's funny. I don't think I'll ever get to it, but I originally wanted to do it like that, all instrumental, but then go back, a couple of years later, and I already have all the tracks down, and try to find singers, give every different singers a track, and say, here, write lyrics, record what you think vocally should be here, and put it out. Not as Voiceless, but as something else with vocals on it. But I don't have time.
Yeah, I know.
I don't have time to do that.
Well, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you, and you've answered it. Was did you do most of it yourself? And I did notice the drumming was good, and I wasn't sure if it was machine or like it sounded human.
No,
So obviously it
that's
is.
all. That's my friend Chris. Awesome. He actually plays in a tribute band called Dirty Deeds.
Oh, an AC/DC,
Yeah,
obviously, right?
yeah, really, yeah, they were really, really good. And we went to his sister's barn one day, and he had electronic drum set, and we just recorded all the songs like right in a row. Like he gets stuff on the first or second take. That's how good he is. And so then he took him back, and then he put it through his stuff, whether it be like Superior Drummer or whatever software he had to get better drum sounds. So we tracked it with basic sounds, and then he took it and put better drum sounds in, and then sent it to me, and we kind of mixed it together once it was all done.
And all that was recorded. All your parts were done at home, you said.
All at home. I had halfway. I was using a Kemper. I had a Kemper at that time, and then I ended up getting. It's not the same one, but I had a JCM 2000 and finished the record with that.
Okay.
I would put it in my bathroom. They say you shouldn't put a guitar amp in a bathroom because of the reverb, but I don't know what it was. I mic'd it up in there, and it ended up sounding pretty good. So I just did it all at home.
That's phenomenal because the production is great. Now, did you master it at home too? Or did you send it out? Because the production.
No, I have a friend, and now speaking of the Kemper, a friend of mine that owns a studio, and I didn't know him at the time. He ended up becoming a friend because of the CD. He donated, and most of the people, like the artwork was all donated because they knew I was doing this for charity. So he donated mastering the CD.
Nice.
Chris and I mixed it. He mastered it. My friend Barry, and we ended up actually going to kind of business. It's kind of dead right now. We still sell them, but we were doing Kemper profiles.
Nice.
And so the site's still up. It's amaudioprofiles.com. If any guys out there have a Kemper, check it out. It's still up. We still sell them every now and then.
That's cool.
We've got a ton, we've got the Friedman amps. We've got the 5150.
Mention the link again.
threes.
Mention the link. What is it again?
amaudioprofiles.com.
Okay, good. Because I didn't have that link available at the time, so that's good. I'll put that in the description after too.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just and neither one of us owns a Kemper anymore. We have access to one. We might do more, down the road. There's people with a Kemper know that every amp in the world has been done already. As far as profiling it. So we're like, what we have is good. If people want to buy it, they buy it. If not, it just sits there. We're not really paying for anything anymore.
It's a sound salesperson.
Site.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not a product that you're stocking on a shelf, so you really can't lose.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Something that I have a real passion. I want to try in the very near future. I'm either going to succeed with it or I'm going to fall flat on my face. As I've been watching a lot of videos online, I want to learn how to make my own impulse responses, and I've got some tutorials that I've digested. I've got the software now to do it, and I have great mics. So I want to. I know it's going to drive Poison Ivy and everybody in the house crazy. Have you seen the process of doing that?
Yeah, I actually tried to, and I think I was doing something like I took like a week, and I tried all different methods and ways, and I was probably doing something wrong because I could never get it sounding the way I want it to sound.
Yeah.
So I gave up on it.
Well, I think where a lot of people
there's so many out there that you can just buy.
I know. Well, I think where people go wrong, and here again, like I'm as a novice as novice can be because I haven't even done one yet, so I guess it's a complete novice. But I think like as we some of us buy some of these packs and for our helixes and all kinds of things like that. Okay, there's 2 centimeters off the cone, right on the cone, 20 feet from the cone, over from your neighbor's house, like all this. Yeah, exactly. So I just want to do maybe 3 right on the cone.
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to do too. I just wanted to get, like I said earlier, the sweet spot. I just wanted to get that tone that I like to hear from a speaker. But I was just doing something wrong. I know either that or I didn't have the right software combination.
Could be. Yeah, I'll let you know how
I may go back at some point and do it, but at this point, there's so many options that
it's sometimes easier just to go buy
it. I just don't feel like it.
I'm going to try my 5150 cab because I really, really like that. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it, and if what's the worst that can happen? That didn't succeed, so yeah. Let's jump back to the chat for a quick second, and then we come back. I want to ask you a question about one of the most memorable things that's ever happened to you in your life because of music. Maybe it's a gig, or maybe it's meeting a celebrity, or something that's happened because of music. So think about that for a second, and I'll give you a minute. Let me see here. Dan Wilhite says Cameron Cooper saw your video with Steel Panther. That was amazing. Richard Henry says, what do you guys think is the most important thing in a tribute? Tone, look, stage show, or all of the above? That's a very good question. It seems so you're the tribute expert at this point. So he says again, what do you guys think is the most important thing in a tribute? Tone, look, stage show, or all of the above?
All of the above.
Yeah.
It all has to go hand in hand. Or I mean, I've seen some incredible tribute bands that sound excellent, but they don't look like the band.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's people that don't care about the look, in the audience. There's people that don't care what the guitar sounds like. There's people, just going there just to see what you look like. But to me, if I'm going to see a tribute band, I want to see a tribute band that it's the band.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're going to see the real band.
Yeah.
So
if I ever did it again, and here, like I'm getting to this point now too, where, and as you know this, we're in this very similar boat. Line 6 has kind of corrupted our lives in a very, very good way. If I was to do a Van Halen tribute today, because if I was to ever do a tribute, it's going to be Van Halen. I would have my Helix up front, and that would be it. But I would probably get some, EVH. Every company makes dummy cabs.
Right.
I would get a couple EVH dummy cabs, and I'd put them on the back just for decoration, just to give me that little security blanket when I look back. Maybe I'd put a fan back there that there's some air blowing and I feel like there's some speakers moving, but I'd be completely content with just having Helix up front. But yeah, I agree though. You have to go all about it. Things that drive me crazy is you see like these bands, they promote themselves like crazy, and we're this band, we're this tribute, and then you see like the guitar players on stage, maybe being like I'm not even gonna say who the artist is, but the baseball cap on backwards, and just you got to you got to own that part.
Well, the whole thing is and we've had people tell us this, is that with the way some of these bands, the amount of money they charge to go see them nowadays, especially a big band,
mm-hmm.
You're paying $200, $300, $400 for a seat. So the tribute bands, if it's done right, it's just a way to actually not have to spend all that money,
mm-hmm.
but still see something that's pretty good, for like $10. Or if we're playing a casino, it's a free show.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So that's we've had countless people tell us that. I was going to go see Bon Jovi, but I can't afford $400 seats, so came to see you guys.
And just like on Friday, Mrs. Smith and I were talking about the same thing. Sometimes that's the number one factor, because I mean, even sometimes it's hard to justify the prices, even for us, like as our favorite bands. Like I don't feel right spending $300 for a ticket. When that's a month worth of groceries.
I don't go to many shows anymore, not because of the price, but I just get aggravated.
Yeah,
like I want to play.
Yeah, true.
I don't want to stand there and watch a band. I want to play. So I like the last show, which was good because the last show I saw was Billy Joel at Fenway Park last summer. So it's not really a guitar band. So I didn't get that antsy feeling like I want to get up there.
Yeah,
but now that I have a piano, maybe I will if I go see him again.
Yeah, you might, piano man. But you're kind of off duty. You're not a guitar player anymore.
Right,
you're there just to enjoy some music. So that's kind of cool. And also that we had discussed as well too is the fact that sometimes, like we'll use Bon Jovi for example. Bon Jovi might not come to 5,000 population small town Idaho, right? So some of these people that really want to see them, that could be maybe their only time in life that they're going to get the closest thing to see Bon Jovi.
Yeah. We had that happen to us years ago. We went up to the very tip of Maine, a place called Madawaska.
Okay.
And nothing gets up there. Like we were driving. It was a 9-hour drive, and we were driving overnight. And once you got closer there was just nothing. It was just the road, and you would see like caribou on the side of the road.
Wow. Wilderness out
and
that way.
They got nothing up there, and we played in front of a huge stage, and it was probably 1,500, 2,000 people just going crazy.
Isn't that something?
Just to see, it's like the last 2 summers we played. We do this. There's Mohegan Sun casinos.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
One in Connecticut, one in the Poconos in Pennsylvania, and we've been fortunate enough to do that the last few years. And I think we just booked the July 20th, they do it on the rooftop at the one in Connecticut. We're doing that one, so we're just waiting on the Poconos show. But Poconos, they have a race, like a dog track, horse track or whatever, out back. And every Thursday night, they do a Thursday night tribute series. And they set up a big stage, like a pro sound system. The last 2 years that we did it, we've had like 10,000 people.
Wow.
At those, and it's like it's Bon Jovi playing up there. Like they are louder than the PA. It's crazy.
Is that
It's
possibly one of the
nuts.
shots you've got on your website?
Yeah,
That's
that
beautiful,
from far away angle.
dude.
Yeah.
Everyone watching this right now, when you're done the show today, go click on the link to go to the website because it is in the description. You're gonna be blown away. It's like all you see is people and a
You see
big
this little
stage.
stage.
Yeah,
Way down the
that's
bottom.
awesome. Well, you know what's funny too? Tell me if you agree with this too. A little tangent here, but one of the things I always look at music going into a performance. You don't want to get too cocky, like a hockey team. For example, okay, we're going to go in. We're the Red Wings. We're going to kick so and so's. We're going to kick the Habs' butt tonight. Whatever. Colorado. We're going to kill Colorado, and then they get there and they get defeated because you go in too cocky. Now sometimes it can work the opposite way around. You're traveling. You're talking about this place way out in the wilderness, pretty much, and a lot of people might say, "Oh, this is gonna suck. Here's gonna suck." Never, ever, ever, if I can give one piece of advice to musicians, especially maybe new ones getting into the game, is always treat every gig. Don't over expect anything, but don't undermine what you're about to perform because, like you say, you could go to a place like that and look what it's turned into.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's weird because you can get to a show and you're thinking, oh, this is going to be great tonight, and then nobody shows up.
I know. You're let down.
And you're like, everything just drops,
Yep,
and you
the
got to
band's
do your best to just
recoup from
just
it.
imagine that it's an arena.
Yep.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
'Cause we've played. I mean, these guys watching right now in bands, you've played. Where there's more guys in the band than there are in front of you.
Yeah.
And it's not fun, but
yeah,
you got to push through it. Yeah, I just when that happens, I look at it like it's just a glorified practice.
Yes.
So,
yeah, and you're getting paid.
We have another show coming up tomorrow night or next week, so let's bear down here and try to improve. As we go forward.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You always have to play. You always have to play like it's a full house because you never know who's going to walk in. It could be someone.
You never know who's watching. Yeah, you don't, because we've had shows like that where there's been hardly anybody there, but there was one guy that was an agent was there, and we ended up getting a gig off of that. So
yeah, another reason to also be professional too. Like some of these bands, nothing wrong with having a drink. And some okay, if you can do it in moderation while you're playing. But don't be looking like an idiot on stage, be professional because that image as well too. The agent comes in, oh, that sounds pretty good. And then all of a sudden they see shenanigans going on that aren't appropriate, and doesn't matter how good you were.
We've dealt with some of that. We're like Spinal Tap, but with bass players.
Oh, really? Bass players.
Yeah, it's not the drummer, it's the bass player. We've gone through like 5 or 6 since I've been in the band, 5 or 6 bass players. We got the guy we have now, Doug, is great. He was in the band previously. But yeah, we've had a couple that were just problems.
Yeah,
great guys, but it just certain things didn't work.
Yeah, no, you got to be professional, and it's got to be guys too, that guys and girls. I'm not trying to stereotype that you because you're spending a lot of times, in some cases, a lot more time with them than sometimes your own family. You got to get along with them. The talent is a big part of it. And talent can always be learned a little bit more. You can practice, but you can't really make yourself a better person if you suck. Right. So you got to be good people, which is hard to find too.
Well, the funny thing about our band is we hardly see each other.
Oh, okay.
We're like, I'm 90 minutes away from the other guys.
Yeah.
So we don't rehearse.
Right.
We'll rehearse maybe once a year. And by now it's like you either know the songs or you don't.
Right.
So if we're going to learn something new, everybody learn your parts, and when we get to the next show, whatever show that we have a long sound check, we can take our time. We'll
cool.
work something.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talk on the phone during the week, but we don't live close enough to each other to like hang out or. So yeah, it's kind of unique because most bands are seeing, like you said, to see each other all the time. Like when I was with Sky High, all those guys, we all lived within 20 minutes of each other, so we saw each other every day.
Yeah.
These guys in my band now, Bon Jersey, I see them at shows. That's it.
Well, and you guys are doing a good
job.
Talking
on the phone.
Yeah, as long as everyone's professional, learns their parts at home, then you're fine.
Oh yeah, they're all great, and everybody. Sometimes we'll go weeks without talking, and we'll just see each other at the next show, and everybody knows what they're supposed to do, and you just do the show. You do your job.
And there's days today where people are even further than you guys. There's people out of state, out of the country, and so for these bigger bands and things like that. And there's no reason why you can't pick up a Skype conversation and say, I'm having a real hard time learning this chord progression. If you got 2 guitar players, can you help me with this part here, whatever, and you can do that and learn as well. Very cool. So let's jump over to the question I had for you. The most memorable thing that's ever happened to you for music, whether it be a gig or whatever. Can you share something like that with us?
Musically,
yeah.
I would have to say, like off the top of my head, it's those 10,000 plus shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you like, there's a lot of they have like a little tent next to it where you can change or whatever,
Yeah.
and be away from everybody. And there's a lot of people, but until you walk up the steps, and the stage is like 6 feet high, so you got to walk up, and once you get up there, and you first look out, it's it's a little. The first time it was kind of like, whoa, what is what's going on here? Like they're here to see us, right? So, and then once you stop playing, you kind of feed off them, and then the next time when you see it again, you kind of know how it's going to be. And
yeah.
But when they start, like we'll do when we do Living on a Prayer, Joe will we do it like Bon Jovi does. Like John, I don't know if they still do it now that way, but John will sing a cappella the chorus, without the band. He'll sing it, and then when he gets to the the whoa, we're halfway there, he'll sing the whoa, and then he lets the audience sing.
Okay.
And that's what John Bon Jovi does. So when we do it at a show like that with 10,000 people, I mean, it's
you hear it back.
It's like you're going to see Van Halen and people are singing along. It's just that loud.
You don't
even if I was wearing in-ears, that's blocking. Usually I'm blocking out everything around me, and I just have the band in there. But when they're that loud, it's pushing right through that.
That's cool. That's a good vibe.
Yeah.
You can feel it.
Yeah, you get the goosebumps, and it just makes you want to play even better.
The only one I can remember that would ever come close to something of that nature is over that way was I don't know what year it'd be now. It'd be 98-ish, 99, somewhere in there. But the band I was in, 5150 at the time, we played the New York State Fair, which I think was in Syracuse, New York. Mm-hmm. And it was my first festival gig with the band. And I'd never played for a crowd that large in my years. It was probably 7,500 to maybe 9,000 people. And I remember going on the stage. We would start off with the 1984 keyboard parts, the drones and all that kind of really, really cool thing, and the smoke's just rising, whatever. And so the smoke's covering me. You can't see me. And I looked down once at my hand, and I think we started. Oh man, it was shaking so bad. And
that's happened to me.
I had to literally slap my hands and like squeeze my hands and like, okay, dude, you get it, hold yourself. And no one could see me doing it because I'm in the smoke, which was good. But I thought I actually at that point thought for a second I could run right now and no one would see. You know what I mean? No, Eric's gone. But
it's like I don't warm up before a show because there's always something going on. Like there's too much going on. We're always cracking jokes before we go on stage, and I forget to start warming up. So the worst thing is when we open up a show with a song that requires your fingers to really move. That's what kills me a lot of times is like I'm just not ready. Mm-hmm. I'll fumble through a song like I Die For You.
Okay.
Off of Slippery When Wet, the lead, there's this run in that lead, and if we play that in the first one or two songs, it gets me all the time. I gotta. It's my own fault. I should warm up. Mm-hmm. But you start thinking about other things. You're talking to this person. You're talking to that person.
You never have time. Yeah. And I think honestly, tell me what you think about this. I liked, as much as I hate being nervous, I hate nerves, I hate the stress it can cause. And it even comes in with the show, things like this. When the camera light goes on, it might look like everything's all cool, and for the most part it is. But if a technical problem happens, like I had some technical issues today, as you knew, and you had some technical issues before we went on. The simplest things that I work every day, and then before showtime, something can go wrong, and it just like that's. I saw another gray hair pop out today, literally because of it. But it's also good because the nerves. Some of the best creative moments can come from like, where am I going to go? It's all like, okay, you're dropped off on a back road on the country, find your way home, and like, oh my God, I just found this new pasture over here. It's so beautiful, and because you would have never gone that way, right? Right. I'm probably not making sense, but I think you kind of
no, because this just happened. The last gig we just played was a private event. It was I think it was a 50th surprise birthday party. A guy did it for his wife, and she's a huge Bon Jovi fan. Mm-hmm. So they hired us, and we did sound check. Everything's fine. And they didn't. We had to be behind the curtain because she didn't know anything. Didn't want to see any of the instruments. Even the PA was behind the curtain.
Wow.
So, and they're like, when you come back in, getting ready to start, they gave us a cue. They said, don't make any noise.
Okay.
Don't even check to see that your guitar is on anything. So we go into Runaway first. And that part, I have nothing. Nothing.
Oh no.
I don't know what I don't know what happened. And so we basically played the whole song with no guitar. I air guitared it.
Okay.
I just played like I was on.
Yep.
And there was nothing coming out of my rig. I had the Helix going with the Marshall, and I had a wireless. And when I turned to the guys and said, when this song's done, stop, and we got to figure something out here. So the song ended, and I'm down at the pedal board. I'm like, making sure everything's plugged in, and everything was where it was supposed to be. I ended up grabbing my other guitar because I have a different pack for it, transmitter. Tried that, nothing. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I ended up taking off the wireless, and I plugged directly in. I had sound.
Okay.
So we go into the next song. Not even 4 bars into that song, my main guitar break a string.
Oh my God.
So I finished that song with a broken string, and I had to readjust the solo because that was a prominent string for that solo. So that one finishes it. So I had to use my I don't know if you can see it up there.
Oh yeah.
Strat in the middle.
Yeah.
Which is more of a bluesy type sound. It's not really for heavy stuff. I had to use that for the rest of the show because I only brought 2 guitars.
Oh geez.
And it was just a struggle to get through, like playing something like Raise Your Hands, which is pretty fast.
Yeah.
And a lot of pinch harmonics and on that thing. That's more for like Who Says You Can't Go Home.
Okay.
Stuff that doesn't require a lot of gain. It just doesn't sound as good. So
this is probably
that was a struggle. So I had to adjust everything, and it's one of those shows where the people who were going crazy, they were having a great time.
That's good.
But I had in-ears in, and I'm listening, and I'm like, this sounds terrible. This sounds terrible. But they said it sounded great out front.
That's what matters the most. And I know you're going to criticize yourself till the cows come home, but
it
must have
was
been
bad.
Like a living nightmare for you inside your mind.
Yep.
Oh.
I couldn't wait to get done. I couldn't wait for the show to be over at that point. But that happens every now and then. You just got to keep going.
It will always work. As we've all learned, obviously you found there's probably just something with the receiver, not the transmitter or the wireless. There's something in the receiver.
I don't know. I got home the next day, plugged everything in, the same exact way, and it was working fine.
Yeah, it could have been voltage. You never find out. But yeah, it makes you a stronger person too, because every one of those train wrecks, because that's a kind of a train wreck. That I always call it the caboose going off the track. Then pulling the rest of the train is like, how do you recover at least without the fewest casualties as possible?
Right.
And it seasons you for another day, because when it's all done and when you've been playing as long as you've been playing and I've been playing, you make so many mistakes, technical mistakes, that you can say, okay, what did I do that last time? Some, blah, blah, blah. You save it for a rainy day. Let's talk about when you first discovered the Line 6 brand. Now, I've been using it a lot less and you have a lot less. And it's changed my life in a totally different way. But when did you start getting into it and how has it affected you ever since?
Well, I go back to the original pod.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had the bean, the red beans.
Yep.
I had the very first one, the 2.0, the XT, the X3. I had them all the way along, and I never really used them. I didn't use them live.
No.
I just used them, just to record ideas with.
Jam and stuff.
I had a the Veta amp. I did play live with that. When the Helix came out. And I actually had one of the original old Variaxes too.
Okay.
The 300 series, or that might have been the 500.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as advanced as it is now.
Today.
Like there were never any real pickups in it.
Yeah.
The one that I had. But when the Helix came out, I got one, and with like a lot of things, I didn't give it a fair shake at first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those guys where I'll get something and I won't really dive into it like all the way in. Because a lot of times I have gigs and I'm like, I just need something fast, and I don't really, take the time to explore it. So I used it for a little while and I was like, you know what? I got it. This was before firmware 2.0 came out.
So no snapshots or anything.
Yeah. So I got rid of that, and I've gone through. I've had an Axe Effects from Fractal. I still have an amplifier, the 3-button red one.
Okay.
I was using that. I had the Kemper. Kemper I used for a couple of years. And then the regular amps, the tube amps. But 2.0 came out, and I started seeing more and more videos, YouTube videos. Like I think you had I've seen you say it before that you just started watching video after video,
Yeah.
just to learn. And so when 2.0 came out, they added a lot more to it, especially with the snapshots. That was always my thing. Changing presets or changing sounds. It was always that gap.
Yeah, like
between.
a lot of digital stuff.
And a lot of times, the audience won't hear it. But when I'm wearing in-ears and that my guitar sound is pressed against my ear, I could hear that.
Oh,
It would just throw me.
Yeah, you're off for a second.
Just that little split second of no audio, and then it's back. So I ended up, I sold the first Helix I had, and then I ended up buying another one, the one that I have now, used. And that's when I really started to get into it and realize that this thing can do more than any of these other devices that I've owned. And it's not so much like which one sounds better, because they all sound great.
They do.
I mean, I had the Fractal, I had the AX8, and that thing sounded incredible. But just the flexibility of the Helix, and you don't need to look at a manual to figure out, what you're doing. Just the screen on it, like the AX8. It was fine if I was at home and I had it plugged into the computer and I had the editor up and I could do whatever I wanted. But I found myself at a couple of gigs where I had to make changes real quick, and to get through that menu was just, it drove me crazy. So this thing, the Helix, just no complaints whatsoever as far as using it. And
the UI is incredible.
If you never used one, you could figure it out. In an hour, you could, if you're a guitar player and you used multi-effects units before, you could get something, good after about an hour without ever touching that thing before.
Well, here's a small testimonial. Just yesterday, Eric Jr., he's only 12 next month, and he's in here because we've got the rack in now, the floor.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, he's playing it. He's doing really good. For all he really wanted it for, because I didn't have an expression pedal with the rack, and he's like, I just want to do a Digitech whammy. So I'm like, okay, I'll get you a whammy here, and I got him set up. And I showed him how to name presets and snapshots and all that kind of stuff. He was doing it in 2 minutes. I'm like, holy cow, man. So if a 12-year-old can do it, us old folks can do it in no time at all. Yeah. It's encouraged me to play guitar more, because once I started doing this show, which I do every week, sometimes a few times a week, I often forget that, hey, Eric, you got some guitarists back here.
Yeah, you're a guitar player.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's what I was first. I never wanted to be a talk show host. I forget that I play guitar, but the Helix stuff has made me play and play and play. And it's fun again. It's fun.
It's easy. It makes it like you don't have, and plus you're saving your hearing too, because you don't have to have those amps that are behind you.
Well,
or behind
I'm not
me.
sure.
I still put, like yesterday, I was in here. I had that 100-watt thing cranked up, and my ears were ringing after. But yeah, like I just plugged this thing into the computer, into the interface, and
I don't know if it's going to save my hearing, though, and I'll have to tell you why, because I put the headphones on, and this is bad. This is really bad. I cranked the snot out of it. Like it's way not.
Well, I'm the same way. I play better when it's louder.
I do too. I do.
So like that's my love and hate thing with in-ears. Number one, guitars never sound right to me in the in-ears.
Yeah.
The vocals, the keyboard, everything sounds like a CD quality, but when I hear the guitar. And, I've had guys say, well, that's what it sounds like out front. I'm like, no, it's really not what it sounds like out front, because I've gone out front.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound anything like what I'm hearing. And this is my thing, and I don't know if guys agree with me with in-ears, not to go off on another
totally, it's fine.
subject, but they're great for vocals. I love them. They help me sing better, which I need all the help I can get. But the guitar, my playing suffers when I wear them, because it just doesn't sound. It's like putting your head against the speaker cone and listening to the guitar, because you're taking that tone and it's right against your eardrum.
Yeah, you need to get away a little bit.
There's no space.
Yeah.
I know there's little tricks you can do. I mean, if you had a lot of money and you had your own sound guy all the time and you had a mixing board and you can set it and dial it all in. I even built my own personal monitor system. I would bring this thing out with my iPad, and I could mix it on there, and I got it better, but it's still
not the way you like.
Wasn't worth lugging all that extra stuff. It still wasn't right.
Yeah.
So when I have to use them, I use them, but I'd rather not use them.
Yeah, I hear you. today we were before we get into the last part of the show here, and get you to do some playing with your Helix in a second. Today Junior was testing out the Variax through. So I have several different rigs that I have them all hooked up with the different Helix products. And so through the lunchbox, the newest lunchbox from Van Halen, from EVH Gear, I should say, it's only a 15-watt amplifier. And I'm telling you, I have it on the quarter power switch, 4 watts, 4.5 watts, whatever it is, running into the 412, and the HX effects is running through that in a 4-cable method. And if I was to do take a tube rig out today, I would take that lunchbox and I would grab a 212, not a 412, but a 212. And with that HX effects, I've got a channel switching built in as a stomp. And I've got some of my favorite effects I have all in one patch, chorus, reverb, delay. I've got some noise suppression and things like that I haven't assigned to a button because I just figured I'll just leave them on, right? And it saves assigning them to a scribble strip, whatever. And at low power, like barely on one, Junior's in here. He's got the Variax. I programmed in a drop A tuning for it. He's doing some Slipknot. He wanted to try the wireless, so he's upstairs playing for Mom. And they're shaking the house. And actually, I came in here to do some work, so I'm in here, and the amp is in here. He's upstairs playing, and it's like, grr, 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 like this. And it sounded amazing. So it is nice once in a while to
just let it rip.
Yeah, let it rip and jump over. But that's one of the things I like about the products, and what I also like about the staff, how they'll always say, hey, we're not saying, we're not preaching that it has to be a Line 6 product and nothing else. They build tools to integrate with your life.
Use it in whatever way you need to use it.
Yeah.
No, it's not like just this is it and this is how you got to use it and you can't use anything else.
That's right. They all love tube amps. They have their favorites, you know, and they have the fortune of having a lot of those amps at their disposal when they do the modeling. So of course they love tube amps. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting an HX. That's what I got the pedal snake for. Was the HX effects on the smaller board with just that and the talk box.
Yeah.
And maybe the wireless. I'm not sure if I'm gonna put that on or not.
It's so user friendly. You're gonna love it. It's just ever so slightly different than the Helix, but because you've had the Helix for so long, it's just so easy and it's fun.
And I'm not a big effects guy. Like I'll have a little reverb and some delay, and if I need a chorus or a phaser or something, I'll just kick it in. And that's I highly with the Helix, the full one, the floor. Mm-hmm. I really don't use the expression pedal.
No, I've only done it a couple times because I can.
Maybe a Y, like a Y every now and then, but like not having it on the board, I won't miss it. So
I added one patch last night, one of my favorites that I've been using a lot lately, and I may demonstrate today. I'm not sure, but I wanted a wah because I use a wah a lot on my real board, and I wanted a pitch change, so I added that to my patch. Unfortunately, there was enough DSP to handle it because it was pretty maxed out already. And it worked fine, and I really enjoyed just having that feature. But yeah, with the HX, I could do a full night with a band, no problem, by not even changing a preset, because you can assign 9 presets to the buttons, but I mean, or I'm sorry, what six, but 9 simultaneous. So things that you would have always on, like maybe a noise suppression.
Yeah, you don't have to assign it.
Yeah, maybe reverb. If you don't turn your reverb off, don't assign it. So then that's freeing up some real estate there as well too. So very cool. Renaming everything is simple. But if we in a second, why don't you fire up your Helix and let's I know you got to change over some settings on your computer, and let's hear some of your patches.
Hopefully I do that right this time.
No problem. It's all good. Take your time.
So which guitar?
Why don't you grab your one? Well, you pick. Actually, I see one right there. That's kind of cool. But
which one?
Let's grab the Ernie Ball.
Okay. I'll tell you a story about this one.
Yeah.
I told you earlier.
This is a good story.
This is a 91, the EVH. It's got it's got Eddie's signature on it. I got it in 91. I had to take out a loan to get this. This was my first real guitar. And the only guitar I played 20, 25 years. I never played any, like on stage I would bring it back up, never changed. It was always this guitar. And so it's pretty beat. I wish I took better care of it, but when you're in the moment, you just
it happens.
It's rusted like from sweat, and I had some new parts put on it recently, but there's dings and nicks all over it, and I'm gonna try to show that. I showed this in some of my videos. That little thing right there.
Do you get your fingernail cut in when you play there?
No, it's not affecting playing it.
Okay,
but
that's good.
What happened was I was playing one day, had the Helix on the floor, and I think I was done, and I stood up, and the strap just fell off the guitar, and the headstock went the guitar went down, the body hit a corner of the helix, and that hit another part of the helix. The helix was fine. So line 6, it's built like a tank. It took the brunt of the guitar falling on it, but it knocked out a little piece of that second fret on the neck. But I was told the local luthier that I use said that's easily repairable.
Oh, that's good. Good.
And I had just gotten this guitar was at my singer's house for like 4 or 5 years in pieces because he was going to redo everything for me. He was going to fix it up, and he just didn't have time. So I ended up getting it back. I took it to the local guy, and they put it back together and cleaned it up, and it's working fine. And it was like 2 weeks after I got it back is when that happened. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So now this is retired now. I don't bring this to gigs anymore. This stays up on the wall.
Wicked. That's a beautiful guitar. So Rich's voice may drop out here in a second because he's switching off his vocal mic to go over to the audio. So if you don't hear him speaking, that's why.
Yeah, I'll play a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you said, you have no heat right now. It's actually cold in this room too.
Yeah, it's
raining and not good. But all right, let me see if I can remember how to do this.
And thank you so much, everyone in the chat. You're going to come back and say hi to everyone in a second. We're going to be wrapping up probably in about 15 minutes. That sounds great.
So I should probably say what this is. So I just threw this patch together today. It's the new Friedman BE100, the placator model. It's got stock cabs. I usually use a dual 25, the greenback, and a V30. I think it's the Uber V30 because Friedman's cabinets have the greenback and the V30 in it. And I just have the Glitz stereo reverb on it, and I'm looking at it now, and I have a ping pong delay. I don't know if you guys are getting that ping pong back and forth.
I think it's coming through mono from you.
Yeah, for some reason I've got it going in stereo. But
yeah, Skype will convert it to mono, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true.
But it still sounds good. It's hot over here, which is good.
Yeah. So I think it's on. I don't think the BE channel is on. I mean, HBE channel is. No, actually, HBE channel is on right now.
Now, what does that do? What does that do actually? The HBE mode.
What is it? It just adds. It's like if you have just a BE mode with that off, it's more like an AC/DC type tone. I had that amp, and that was my favorite amp of all time, is the BE100. Had to sell it to help fund this house that I'm in right now.
Sure.
But yeah, so the BE is more of a hard rock tone, and the HBE is it's the brown eye and the hairy brown eye.
Okay.
And it just adds a little more fuzz on top.
Gotcha.
A little bit more. I don't want to say gain, but distortion.
Okay.
But that's what Dave does. Dave's that guy's a magician with these things. So all right. So I'll. What do you want to hear? I'm gonna try to play some Van Halen stuff.
Okay, that'd be great.
It's been years since I played Van Halen.
No problem. No judging.
And I know most of the Van Halen. I know you know a lot of. From watching your videos, you know a lot of the older stuff. I don't remember how to play that stuff, but my stuff is more Sammy era.
That's cool. Hey, it's Van Halen. That's all that matters.
Yeah, this might be out of tune, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's more for audio demonstration purposes.
All right, so I'll play a couple of things and then we'll switch back.
sounded really good.
Yeah, this guitar is going out of tune for some reason here, so
That's okay. No, it sounds.
I know it just it bugs me.
Yeah, it's probably the temperature. My guitars are going
And
crazy. I got
I'm
some.
having trouble hearing it too for some
Yeah?
reason.
No, it sounded really good to what we're all hearing.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
It's like just like the show I was saying earlier. Like it sounds terrible in my ears,
I
but
know.
out front it sounds good.
I know.
So
No, I like it, man. Thank you for showing us that. It's really good.
yeah, this used to be my one and only, this guitar, and it's weird too because it's such a small neck,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm used to the bigger Fender necks now. So when I play this, I feel like a giant.
Yeah, I feel like
know.
you're holding a
My
broomstick,
fingers
right?
are fumbling over each other trying to move around on this thing.
Yeah,
But
the
it's
wolf-
retired, so it lived a good life.
Yeah, it's nice to play it once in a while. Yeah, you
Yeah.
probably you bring back some nice memories for sure. And I find the same thing too. When I play the Wolfgang standards, I literally feel like I'm holding a broom. You know, it's like I feel like I'm going to damage this thing. And that's another story too with the Variax I've got in my hand right now. I'm going to do just a real fast demo of this one. It's a slightly wider neck, and 24 fret, which was always an intimidation to me. I've always played 22 frets, and this guitar came equipped with 10s. And I was really contemplating jumping down to 9s, and I saw some discussion in one of the Helix worship groups this morning. Someone had the exact same guitar, and he was asking about 9s, whatever. And I saw different people chiming back and forth, saying they were worried about if it would track well with the Variax and stuff like that. And everyone's like, yeah, put 9s on, whatever. And I was talking to Junior about it too. I said, I'm thinking about putting 9s. We're in the grocery store today. I said, I'm thinking about putting 9s in this thing. He goes, no, you should keep it. And he's smart. The kid's smart. Because number one, we play a little differently on it, and it's actually improving me. It's some articulation and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think I am going to keep it, and there's no reason why not. And his Eastwood guitar he got for Christmas, Eastwood Airline, very nice guitar. It came with 10s, and when I started playing that one, I was like, "This something feels foreign," and that's what it was. There you go. Which one you got there?
Yeah, this is you mentioned the Variax. This
Yep.
is mine. This is the 69.
Beautiful.
69. I ended up putting DiMarzio Tone Zone and Area 58. Middle is a stock. But I mean the pickups that were in it, the stock pickups are fine. I'm just so used to the DiMarzio sound, so I threw those in here.
Did you do it
And I
yourself?
was using this. I haven't used it much lately. I was using it just because of the tunings that you can do.
Yeah.
There's a couple of Bon Jovi songs that, like the newer one, "This House Is Not for Sale" off the last album, where they're tuned. Well, when they record, they tune in E. You know, they're in A440. But when they play live, they tune down a half step for the vocals. But that song, when we learned it, for some reason, we all learned it in the A440. So when we tried to bring it down, it didn't sound right.
Okay.
So this was that guitar for that. I could just I made a preset, and it would tune this up to E.
Nice.
And we had. So that's one thing I was saying about tribute bands earlier, trying to do the show and try to make it as close to Bon Jovi as possible. So we had a double neck acoustic for "Wanted Dead or Alive."
I saw one of the videos on your page.
For years, but it's no more.
Yeah.
Something happened to it. I'm not sure what happened to it. We're trying to fix it, but like we've talked to it's an Ovation. We've talked to Ovation, and they're like, that's very common for that guitar. I'm not sure if it can be fixed. I'm looking into getting another one, maybe, if I can set something. But so I had to use we had no acoustic at the time for Wanted, so I had to use the
12 string
the
in there.
Variax with the 12 string.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, I mean it people out in the audience, they don't care if you're playing, what type of guitar you're playing.
As long as it sounds right. As long as it sounds right.
I care.
Yeah.
But the people in the audience, as long as it sounds similar, and they're all drinking and having a good time.
They don't know the difference.
As long as it sounds right.
Yeah. Did you do the?
But yeah, the 89. I when I was going back and forth when I bought this one, whether to get, because that has the Floyd on it, right?
It does. See, that's the thing. Frank turned me onto that one.
I used to love the Floyd Rose, the floating. And is that one floating?
It is, and none of mine are floating. So this is the here
Yeah,
again.
that was me. I used to love the floating, but as I got older, my playing changed, and now my right hand.
Yes.
I've always had my right hand on the bridge when I play, so my hand got heavier. So using the floating tremolo, it would make it go out. It sounded like it was warped. It would go out of tune.
Yeah.
So I've gone away from that. So that's why I ended up going with this, because it's got
like a Wilkinson style.
Even my the Floyd on the strap back there, that's a floating, but I got a stop in it.
Yeah, so you can't pull back.
No, so you can't.
Well,
yeah, because I remember gradually over the years I was playing, and then I was like, something sounds off. You know, something sounds weird. Like pushing. Something's going out of tune, or it ended up being my hand getting heavy and pushing on the bridge, putting it out of tune.
I'm surprised how quickly I have gravitated to it, because that's the same thing too. I rest rate there all the time. So my first incarnation was, or my thought was, to contact Adam at Futone and say, Adam, get me another trem stopper. And I thought, no, this is a floating trem. I'm going to leave it like that. I've adapted to it. I've adapted to the 10 gauge strings, which I am going to keep on here. And strangely enough, I know a lot of purists will say, well, if you're going to tune your guitar, like, you should really tune your guitar. Don't use the pitch changing. And I can drop to a step and a half, drop D and a half, whatever. So I can play the Van Halen stuff. I can go back up to standard pitch just with and I can't do it today because the battery is actually dead in the Variax, and I'm not running the VDI cable, whatever they call it.
The Helix.
Yeah. But it's awesome for that at any given time. Now, the one thing I haven't learned yet, and I'm going to start learning this, and I can probably learn from you as well too, is you talked about having a patch on the Helix that will actually save the tuning. So I need to talk to you about that after, so I can learn that as
it's
well
all in the editor. Like, you can do it on, I think you can do it on the Helix itself, but the editor, it's like,
okay, good. I'll learn that today. If it's available in the editor, then I know my way around that pretty good. So I'll show you a patch I've got on here right now, and again too, it's using the placator as well too. Once that come out, I think everyone changed all their presets. But what I've done with any of my presets, before that it was the PV Panama to get the closest to the sound that I liked. Got the placator in there, and I use a pitch detune, and I use it religiously. And I've caught myself a couple times. I've had to like almost put myself in timeout. Sometimes because we have the sky's the limit with these things, we go to the limit. Right? So I was using pitch detune, and I'm just like wetting it right up. It's like, you get Photoshop or something like that. Because you can do something, you do it. It's like, okay, now you teach yourself the restraint. So I try to use the pitch detune in very light moderation. I'm probably a hypocrite by saying this, because it's probably going to sound wetter to you guys than what it is. But what I do is I do the Van Halen wet, dry, wet kind of sound, and I have stereo.
Well, that's my favorite. My favorite Van Halen tone is balance.
Yeah,
balance.
It's pretty darn good.
It's heavy, but it's not fuzzy sounding. It's clear.
Yeah,
but it's really
articulates when he does arpeggio, like not arpeggio, but when he'll almost arpeggiate a chord.
You hear every note.
Yeah. Yep. So I do about between -11 and -15, depending on how crazy I am that day. One side, and then the exact opposite on the right hand side. So let me see if I got sound here. One sec. Spare. Yeah, I do actually have sound. I'm not exactly in a good playing position here right now. Now, I wish I had the battery on the tuner, but let me see if I can... Yeah, it's dead, so I can't do that. But so let me show you, and then I got a clean patch on here as well too. Do I have it? Actually, I don't. So there's the lead version of it. I'd like to find this one clean patch I had. I'll try to do it real quickly because it was really cool. Try to find this real quick. Bank up here. And I'm using these Darth Vader slippers from Walmart right now. They look like Canadian snowshoes.
I have Chewbacca.
You got those?
I got Chewbacca, yeah.
Okay, yeah. They're the size of a Canadian snowshoe. And trying to hit presets on a Helix with these things on is crazy.
I'm not wearing the Chewbaccas now. I actually have sneakers on, but I do have them. Well, those cold winter nights.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you need them. So this is a big reverb.
Yeah, it is, yep.
Okay, let me grab my second headphone because it's stuck in my shirt here. 1 second. Come on, get the headphone, dude. All right, this will give me at least... So I'll do some of this tapping stuff that sounded really nice with it. So that's a Joe Satriani piece. And
Well, it almost sounds like too like Winger. I think it was the first album Red Beach did.
okay.
It was an intro to a song, but it's clean like that, and it was all tapping.
I love
it was
that.
similar to that. I can't remember the name of the song.
Well, you know what's weird? I wrote something years ago, obviously after hearing that from Joe Satriani, and I'm trying to relearn my own piece, and I can't believe that I've done something that I can't recreate today. But at least I'll try it, and I'm gonna fail miserably. But I do a thing where it's kind of like that. So I go, what? Now here's the hard part. I do a part on E, so I go. So I'm trying to do this. So I have to get a string damper, and I'll probably be able to do it. And then I go. I'm struggling with that part. And I go. So it kind of sounds nice, but I have to.
It's similar to the Eddie's like feeling like that.
Yeah.
Bell-like clean. That's my favorite clean.
I could play on this all day.
What's his name on the Facebook group? Johnny Lee.
Yep.
He put up a video last week doing Mr. Big.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, you know what? I used to play that Green Tinted 60s Mind.
Yeah.
I used to play it, so I actually just plugged in this. I'm gonna attempt it.
Okay, great.
The intro to it, and I just started trying to do it just like the piano. I'm like trying to remember how to play these things. It's probably gonna sound all messed up, but I'm gonna try it anyway.
Go for it, man. No, go for
Nobody's watching us. So if I mess up, we can delete it. No.
Sound perfect. That's good, man.
If I practice it more, I'll get it. But
no, that's good. That's really good.
It's just trying to remember, and like to do it like Paul Gilbert. Like you don't hear anything else but those notes. Like when I'm doing it, you can hear my palm moving.
Yeah.
On the other strings.
Yeah.
Like that, almost like Atomic Punk.
I'll see if he's coming on the show soon, so I'll see if I can get him to maybe show us that riff. That'd be really cool.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. He's coming up in May, so that's gonna be really.
I gotta get guys like him on the podcast. I've had you've listened some cool guitar players on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you have.
I gotta get the podcast going again.
Yep.
Too much of a break.
Yeah, I sometimes paint myself into a corner because I do so much, and then now I've got the Helix show coming up, the Helix Hour.
Yeah,
and it's
I'm looking forward to that.
Me too. The cool thing about that one is I want to learn from my guests, and there'll be some times I can provide some tips. For the most part, I'm going to be pushing buttons while everyone else teaches everybody. But I'm looking forward to that. But I guess what the point is sometimes we paint ourselves into the corner. But I'd much rather be busy than doing nothing too. You know what I mean? So you're going to do really well, and you've done well. So let's spend the last few minutes here and go over just last minute comments here, and then we're gonna let everyone get to their dinners and things like that. And it's later.
Dinner, yes.
Yeah. So Habs is saying, Habs says Mrs. Smith needs a sweep up this mess shirt. I would buy the hell out of that. And he also says Hale talk boxes require mastery. I'm sure they do.
I don't use the Hale though.
Oh yeah.
I had a Hale when I first started doing it because I thought that was it.
The Banshee.
I use the Banshee because it's got its own 5-watt amp built into it.
Perfect.
With the Hale, you had to use either your amp you're using or you had to have another amp
for that, yeah,
to power it. And I just kept blowing fuses.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. So I found the Banshee and I've been using it. I know Phil X uses, I think he uses the MXR version of it.
Okay.
But I've had this same Banshee the Rocktron Banshee on my boards for about at least 15 years now, the same one. And I have a backup too, but never taken it out of the box.
I think that's the one the Banshee that my buddy Jamie Trevino, you know him too, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what he's using. I'm almost positive it is, and he does that a lot.
I'm thinking of it now. I should have hooked it up.
That's okay. Hey, let's not give you the last time you're on the show, man. It took a long time to get you on the show.
It'd be simple enough to set up a 57 and just run it into my interface, and then just next time.
Yeah, guaranteed. Hey, listen, it took us a long time to get this to happen, but it's not going to be the last time. That's for sure. Yep. So yeah, saying it takes a little bit of mastery. MacTech says your sound was great, so that's good to hear.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
And Terry was saying it's a sweet, beautiful thing that you do for your daughter. That was great. So obviously people know me. They come to expect here. I am always an hour behind in the chat, so I apologize for that. Axis says sometimes tribute bands are better than live, the real band. Just saying. Agreed. I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, especially if a band's getting older and the singer can't hit the note. I mean, our singer Joe, he's an anomaly. I mean, I don't know what the guy does. He can scream, like he'll sing the Steel Dragon stuff from the movie Rockstar. Mm-hmm. Like the really high stuff, like screaming stuff, and like just nothing, goofing around.
It's just every day.
How the hell do you do that? I'm like, I'd be without voice, right after that.
That's a talent.
Be able to talk.
That's a talent for sure. Dan Wilhite says Bon Jovi's playing near me soon. Tickets are pricey. And Jerry Ratpack says, "Yo, Rich, tell us about your modeling journey," which we've talked a little bit about. But he says, "Remember the IPB10?"
IPB10, yeah, the Digitech. That was, I don't know if you've never heard of that. That was
I've had a lot of Digitech, but not that one.
You put an iPad in it.
Oh, okay. Yes.
It had the app, and you could see all the actual pedals.
Yeah.
It was actually really cool. I used it for like a year, and but the problem was Apple updated the iPad, and then so the new iPads wouldn't fit in it, and the connections were not right.
Oh,
so
bummer.
And then once Apple started to upgrade the firmware, the iOS, like my iPad, the old one, the original generation, first generation, you couldn't go past a certain firmware anymore.
Right.
So then the app stopped working, and
bummer.
Couldn't use the board.
Yeah.
But it was almost like an RP. Remember the RP 1000?
Had several of those over the years.
Yeah. So it was like that, but with an iPad in it.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
And and there's good and bad about that. I saw someone in the Helix groups the other day, the different pages that we belong to. Someone was saying, I wish I could, do some editing on my iPad or something like, HX edit kind of thing on the iPad. Yeah. And they're saying, there's a lot of, it would take a couple of years worth of research to do just that one feature that really doesn't serve any benefit. And I agree with that. And sometimes having the benefit of using a device can paint you into that corner again too, where once the technology changes and you can no longer upgrade, then you're screwed. So I think Line 6 has gone in the right direction for, limiting what they can do, right? What you can do.
Yeah, I mean, because if Apple changes the size of it again, or the connection, they came out with a lightning cable. Yeah. Everybody was up in arms over that. So if Line 6 made something to go into your Helix using the lightning cable, and then Apple next year comes out with
the super lightning,
something else that's totally different, then what do you do?
I know.
They have to make special cables for it. And
it's not worth it. Yeah, so sometimes
the screen on the Helix is easy enough that you don't need a computer.
Yeah.
To edit it, and just doing it on if you have a computer, you just plug one cable in USB, and you got everything there.
The screen on the Helix is bigger than my phone, so
right.
That's pretty cool. It's got better resolution than most TVs I had growing up, So last few comments here as well too. EVH Leopard says both guys wearing cool shirts. Yes, Van Halen.
Yeah, I had to bring the
I love it. You did. That's
today.
Great. I had to go thermal for me.
You know what I forgot to show was.
Let's see it.
When I was moving, I found a lot of my old stuff, and I have I think this is OE812 tour.
Oh, I thought it was a sheet music book. Okay, tour
book.
No,
it's from the tour.
Nice.
It's from 1988. I still had it.
Yeah.
And like I told you earlier, I have multiple VHS cassettes.
Those are great.
That I painstakingly record every time Van Halen was on TV, no matter what it was. This one says Arsenio Hall with Valerie Bertinelli. Famous last words. I would record it, edit it, and I would sit there, and this is how crazy I was. I would write out everything that's on the tape and then the time counter.
That
so
is
if
awesome.
I wanted to find, because it's not like the way we have it now, where you could fast forward to a chapter.
Yeah, YouTube.
With a VHS tape, you had to sit there and fast forward, stop, play, stop. I would sit there and do this stupid stuff.
Some people will never, ever, ever, ever experience that. And they
No,
need to. They need to, because that shows that you're a fan. And the same as me, too. I had literally probably 200 Van Halen VHS cassettes, and I lost them in a dampness in our basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
This
some
is,
boots.
I got a bunch of bootlegs in 1995 tour.
Yeah.
I used to just, like, I remember Metal Edge magazine.
Yeah.
They used to have all like not a classified section, but they had like a swap thing in there.
Yeah.
And I'd find Van Halen stuff on there and trade. I mean, I have a full bin of VHS tapes over here, which is anything
love
Van Halen you can think of on them.
I
don't have a VHS player anymore, so I can't really watch them.
I don't think we have one anywhere. We don't
one.
even have Blu-ray players hooked up. But I lost all mine thanks to I don't want to say a flood, because it wasn't a flood, and we do have flooding in some of our neighboring communities. It was just dampness, and it ruined them all, and they went moldy. I threw them all out. But however, I was smart. Back years ago, well, not even a couple years ago, I started converting everything to digital, and so it's all on my computer. So I'm not too worried about that.
Maybe I should do that.
It's a good idea. You should do it,
Yeah.
and then just get rid of the tapes, put them away, because they take up a ton of space. You can have everything on a couple hard drives, and make a couple backups. So it wouldn't be a bad idea. Last few comments. Chris Jones, what band guitarist did you hear when you were young that influenced you to pick up the guitar and how to play? So you said Van Halen was late for you, so a couple others.
Yeah, it was 5150, and after that, like I said earlier, I was into the like Dio and the heavier stuff, and then like guitar players like obviously Steve Vai, Nuno Betancourt, who I just met at NAMM, which he was really cool.
That's awesome.
And Vito Bratta, who I had Eddie's style, but he made it his own.
Yeah.
Players like that was the guys, and I can't play like that. It's not many people can, but
it's unique.
They were the ones. Yeah, they were the ones that I enjoy listening to like that.
Nice.
And then Sambora came in once I discovered. And the important thing is the song. When you're younger, like you said, you just want to play. And look what I can do. I can do this, and I can stretch this all the way.
Yeah.
When I learned that's cool, but if you don't have a song, that's not going to take you very far.
I agree. Yeah, it's all about the song.
That's when I got into Sambora and songwriting more.
Wicked. Dan Wilhite was really impressed with your music, man. I know he has one. He says those are hard to beat. What guitar do you play with Bon Jovi? Do you have a Sambora Kramer? I know you play that Strat a lot, but you have
Hold on.
Yeah, got it.
I don't have the Sambora Kramer, but I have his actual ESP Sambora model.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
I mean, this is not the one obviously not the one he plays, but this is a replica of what he plays, and I think they were like $600 when they were selling them, and the pickups were kind of iffy. So I there's a Pearly Gates in it, a Seymour Duncan Pearly Gates, and I used this guitar probably. I haven't used it much lately, but I used it for probably 8 years doing Bon Jovi.
Wow, wicked.
That's why when he was towards the end of his Bon Jovi days, he was playing that until the end when he was doing mostly Strats, but that was his main guitar.
Oh, wicked. That answers that question. That's a nice guitar. Very nice.
Yeah, the other day I was just thinking, you know what, I got to bring that back out.
Yep.
I haven't brought it out to a show in a while, but
do that. It might have some magic for you. Again. You never know.
Yeah, and it's funny. The Music Man, I had two. I had that one, and I had a hot pink one.
Oh, neat.
And I sold it for a cheap amount of money back then. I sold it to buy a keyboard, stupidly. I don't know why, because I'm not a keyboard player, and for money to go to Florida.
Oh.
And I should have. It was mint condition. It's probably worth about $4,000 now.
Yeah, I think
I think I sold it for like $1,000.
I'm pretty sure he has the pink. Adam Reaver has the pink one, and it's autographed from Eddie, of course, which is really cool. Jason Snight's taken off. He says, great interview. He's really entertaining. He's going to watch the remainder later. Nice. Jerry Ratpack says, I use the pedal a lot for both wah and volume. So obviously I'm assuming he's referring to the expression pedal. I use it sometimes to clean up depending on my settings, sort of like a volume pot on the guitar. Very nice. And Frank makes a very good point. The pedal is also a great parameter changing device too, right? So,
yeah, you can add delay in. You can you could change the you can actually change the whole tone using that. But if a guy like me doing Bon Jovi,
you don't really need to do that.
I just have this set sounds.
Stock. Something like stomp boxes. Boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom.
but I can see where other guys that aren't confined to, like, I'm confined to Richie's stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best thing about the Helix is that it can do, you name it, it can do it.
Yeah, it's your only limitation, and this sounds cliche, is what can you think of, and it'll do it.
Yeah, and there's stuff that it's been out for what, I don't know how many years now, 3 or 4 years since it's been out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that we haven't thought of everything.
I know, that's true.
There's guys, you start seeing these videos pop up where guys are like, hey, I just ran this through this, and then I turned this around, and someone said they put the Kinky Boost, I forget who it was, they put the Kinky Boost after the cabinet or after the amp, and they said it sounded amazing.
I put mine in the loop.
I used to do that with I had one of those MXR overdrives, and I used to put it in the loop, and it just gave it a little push.
Well, the reason why I put mine in the loop, because I have the physical EP booster on my big board, and it goes through the loop. I've tried in front, I've tried in the loop, and it sounds beautiful. It's an always-on pedal. So anytime I put that on a patch on the Helix, it's an always-on pedal, so I don't even assign it to a scribble strip because there's no way I'm turning it off.
And there's just so much that I'm sure these guys are smart. They'll figure out like crazy things to do with it.
And then even Line 6 guys are like, never thought of that. Like some of these things that some people will do. It's amazing. That's why the community is so good. Yep. And, we see the Franks of the world, deeply rooted in these groups, but they're learning from us. We're learning from them. It's a 360. It's a great thing. Jerry Rapak says, hey, Frank, some of the best wah tones from the Helix pedal. And I just programmed my wah last night, too, so I agree with that. And I was thinking I went with, I think they modeled the Vox, the one I used to have.
Was it 804 or the...
I forget the name. It's the very first one, but I ended up going with Chrome Boy or whatever it was called, the Chrome wah, whatever, probably like a Clyde McCoy or something. Yep. I'm not sure what it was modeled after, but whatever it is, it's the exact wah that I wanted. I kept it, so I love it. I could really get rid of all my pedals, and I could.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I just had the Helix on the board. That's it. I mean, everything's gone.
Yeah,
I narrowed everything down. I have like 5 or 6 guitars, like a few amps, and
it simplifies.
I don't need all that stuff anymore.
Yeah. Hab says, I don't know if I'll ever be able to afford a Friedman amp. They're very expensive.
Yes, and now he's got the BE50 Deluxe out, and I heard it at NAMM, and now I want that. And I don't know. It's a dream right now to get that.
EVH Leopard says, sounds great. Last few comments were getting funny in the back of my car. He's singing some of the lyrics. Randall Fisher says, sorry I'm late. Blimpus videos. Rich, favorite strings and gauge. So you're 9s, you said, right?
No, I'm 10s.
Oh, 10s, right.
And I'm endorsed by Diodario.
Nice. And my XL's rock.
And I use, I think the EX, I have it right here. Oh, here it is. The XL.
Okay.
EXL 110 10P, regular light gauge. Been using those for years.
I love the Diodario.
So if you go on Diodario's website and go to their artist pages, and you go, I don't know if it's under R or A, my last name, I'm on there. I have a page.
Nice.
On their site.
That's an accomplishment for sure.
And I just added Pedal Snake onto my site.
Good.
Jody asked if I can throw it up there. I said, yeah, I don't care.
Great.
Any company that wants to do something, I'll
That's
be happy
great.
to promote.
Well, welcome to the Pedal Snake family. Nice to have you, man. And that's quite the accomplishment for Diodario. I love the NYXLs. Richard Henry says, Satch Midnight, love that. Frank Rashad says, nice. Let me see here. Just going to get down to the very bottom comments, and I'm going to let everybody go. David Ennis says, hi, Eric and Rich. He's jumping in late here, which is always cool. They always jump in late, never a problem. I think I've got just about everybody. Frank Rashad says, yeah, you bet we learn from you guys constantly. And that's so nice. It's so nice.
Oh, and that goes to show you right there. He's still here.
I know. We
2
talked
hours
for 2
and
hours.
he's still here.
I know. Thank you so much, Frank.
The guy doesn't sleep.
He doesn't. And I was telling, I told Sandra here, I said, this Frank man, he's on Facebook, for a couple hours before his shift starts, and making sure everybody's okay. Wishing, like today, he's wishing people going to church today have a great, I
don't know how he does it. I finally got to meet him at NAMM, and he's just, that's the way he is.
I know, it's awesome. Like, it's really, some people can learn from this, and sometimes we're like, is this real? You pinch yourself. Is this real? Like, am I getting this kind of support and dialogue with companies? It's not very common today.
It's not. Line 6 is different.
Yeah,
Line 6 is definitely. I mean, there's a lot of good companies, but they're to me, there's the good companies, and then they're up here.
Yeah. I guess a way to end it. That's why what inspired me to start this other show called The Helix Hour, starting on March 18th. It's changed my life, and I want to share my passion for it. And it's not just like a fad of the day. it's made me look at guitar a totally different way again. And it's like, this is now fun.
It's early. It's early in its development too. I mean, they still have a few years to go as far as updating it. So it's not like they're going to come out with the Helix 2, next month.
Yeah, like they said that. Why would we need to?
You don't.
Firmware, and
there's plenty of power in it that you keep adding.
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming, and as technology gets better, they're learning like how to, like what's in there now, how to make that like the programming smaller to add more stuff.
Yeah. I agree.
How to write different algorithms and all that technical stuff that I have no idea about. But
that's right. Habs is saying he uses.
It's going to keep growing.
Yeah, Habs says he uses the NYXLs. Have you tried those yet? Because those are to die for.
I mean, I can ask them if I try them. I'll try anything.
Get one set, and I'm telling you, I swear, like I've got Rob sent me a while back. He sent me some Planet Waves cables and some NYXLs. And one of my Wolfgangs, my black PV Wolfgang, I've had those strings on there. There's no need for me to change them as much in here because I'm not playing out anymore. But it's been 5 months. And I could pick up that guitar today. And I do play a fair amount, at least once a week or a couple times a week. And they sound like brand new strings. And
maybe I'll try. I have to place an order soon. So
do one set and just try it. They last forever. They're beautiful. But I want to remind everybody once again so grab the links down below, go to Rich's website, and email him from one of the two sites, either the Rocker Dad podcast or through his regular site, and he's going to give you a download of the album, correct?
Yes, I actually got a few already emails. I haven't looked at them yet, but I got some contact forms.
That's awesome. So. Wicked. Well, I'm happy to hear if people are hearing that and they're acting on that. That's awesome. I hope everyone had a good time today. Nice Sunday afternoon, and then have the rest of the afternoon, if it's afternoon for you, with your families. If it's evening, thank you so much for tuning in and catching it. And it was a great pleasure to have you here. I know this is something we've been talking about for a better part of a year.
Finally.
I know.
Well, like I said, we got to get you on the podcast. We'll get that set up soon.
I'll love that. I'll be nervous, but I'll be happy to come on because I don't push.
I'm always nervous when I'm doing it.
Oh, I
know.
Yeah,
check out the rockerdadpodcast.com. A lot of great interviews on there with like Joel Hoekstra from Whitesnake, Richie Castellano. You put your Line 6 guys if you haven't seen it yet. There are some videos of like it depends on like I'll ask the person that I'm interviewing if they want to have video or not. Mm-hmm. Some of them don't, some of them do. So when they do, I throw it up on YouTube too. So
speaking of which, the show I did a couple nights back with Nita Strauss, apparently she didn't get the memo that it was a video interview. So I'm calling her, and I didn't get a test call with this because I usually like you and I had a test call at 1 o'clock today. I like to have a test call, make sure lighting's good. Anything could go wrong, and usually does. And it's good to work it out in the test call as opposed to live. So I called her as video, and then she hung up the call and she messaged me back. She says, "Is this video?" And I'm like, yeah, it's a TV show. It's called TV, right? EVH Gear TV. And so I guess she had to get ready. So it was real quick, and she scrambled, and everything went well. But so there's a little confusion there, but it's always cool. So everyone subscribe. I saw a couple of people. I saw Quentin James said he subscribed to you already as well too, just by clicking there. So that's awesome. Thank you so very much, and thank you for participating and actually contacting Rich and getting that record. You will like it. It'll be great. It'll be great listening for you for sure. I'm just getting some feedback on the show popping up right now, which is good as well too. So I love hanging out with you guys and girls on Fridays, Sundays, all that kind of stuff. And I guarantee you, Rich is going to be back. It was harder to set this up than it is to get a second one, so we'll have you back. We're early in 2018. I'm thinking maybe late spring. Get you on.
Yeah, that's fine. And I'll make sure the talk box is hooked up.
That'll be great. And this episode,
around with that.
That'll be fun. I'd love to have you do that. This will be available on iTunes probably later this evening as well too. I just got to do some conversion, and it'll be up there as well. So if the easiest way, just go to iTunes and just type in EVH Gear. It'll be the first thing that pops up, or you can go to evhgeardiscussion.com/iTunes, and it'll take you there as well. It's just a redirect as well, however you want to get there. But thank you so very, very much. There's going to be a contest announcement coming up here soon with some D'Addario stuff as well, so that's going to be cool. A bunch of other stuff, Line 6 products, Rode products, everything, some Pedal Snake products, all kinds of good stuff. So hang on for that as well too. Blimpus Videos says, thanks for a fun Sunday show. Steve Segura, thanks gentlemen. On and on. It's awesome. We love you. Thanks for tuning in. And Rich, don't go anywhere. I'll say goodbye to you off the air. All right, so everyone, thank you so very much. We will see you,
everybody,
very soon. Cheers, everyone. I am now on Patreon. If you enjoy my content and wish to support my channel and what I do, then please check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/EVHGearTV. Your support assures the continued growth of this channel and a fun community in which to share our love for Van Halen, music gear, and much more.
Hey, my name is Eric and I'm playing the Frankenstrat guitar.
Video production services provided by Design 39 Media. Visit design39media.com for all your website, photography, and video production needs.